we had with that old vending machine system. But yeah, that worked out.
Yeah, definitely really excited. I feel like Hype is definitely going to be one of the projects that really will continue to stand out for a while. I know you guys have a lot planned, but it's very interactive too, you know.
And they were so early.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people in this room were way earlier than us, but yeah, thank you.
There's a lot of ETH people here, actually. I'm just now noticing, scrolling down, there's a lot of people that I don't really recognize.
Love the people hanging out here.
What's up, Tala Koreshi Henpai? I don't know how to pronounce that, but what's up, man? No? Oh, okay.
I got shy.
It's a lot of nerves.
Yeah, but feel free to come on up and share any points of views or anything like that.
You know, I'm curious, Jamie. I mean, Jamie runs Wednesday NFT from Think Grow Crypto. What drops are you excited about that are coming up? Because you kind of know what the calendar looks like.
Oh boy. I do have a couple in mind that I'm looking out for. I think one is, I don't know how to pronounce it. Let me see if I can figure out how to find them and then post it up here. But I think it's called Kidoyaki, maybe. Let me see here. I'll try sharing it up top. And of course,
was that the free royalty thing that I posted about or whatever?
No, this one's a different one, I believe. And the other one I'm really interested in awaiting is Equine. That one looks really good.
Oh, the horses? Yeah, for sure. I have to get a horse, at least.
I'm definitely going to get a horse. I'm really interested in what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, that one's the one where it's like, I really don't have any idea what that's going to be like. So I'm interested to see. You know.
Jamie, were you talking about Kidyoki, the one that I pinned to the top, or is that the wrong one?
1 second here. I'm pulling it up. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I really love the art of this project too. I'm looking forward to it.
Is it a straight art play, or is there like some sort of utility?
From the last time I checked their website, like when they had applied on being like listed to NFT, they didn't really have much out yet. So I think now that they have set out a date for their drop, there's probably more on their website. I just haven't checked it out yet.
Sweet.
It looks pretty sick.
Yeah, I haven't even seen or really looked at the roadmap, to be honest, which is really probably really bad to say. But just looking from the art, just strictly the art, I really like it.
That's all I need, really.
I don't necessarily think every project needs to have a roadmap from like the get-go, especially if the art is really good and the team is quality and stuff like that. A lot of the, you see too many NFT drops where they promise a game within like 2 to 3 months and all this other stuff. And to me, that's more of a red flag than not having a roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, most of this stuff is used just for marketing anyways, like white papers and roadmaps and stuff. Like, it's just there for people, like, you know, traveling over the internet. They fall onto your project, they see your stuff, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, I like this. But I mean, for the most part, if the team is known, the team is trusted, and if their like intentions are kind of like, you know, explicated to the community, and they, you know, there's an understanding there, then, you know, that's all that really needs to happen, fundamentally.
Well said, man.
I was going to ask you guys what you think of Hosky.
Dude, I love Huskies.
Do you guys know who do any of you know the team behind it?
I don't, but I mean, you know, when you're the description of your Twitter page is a premium premium doggo meme shitcoin. Like I can't, I can't not buy that.
Right. I know it's such a steal right now. I don't have anything else to say, but it's this group's awesome though.
I really wonder what's going to... I mean, they have Comet also right now on ERG, and it's just like, it's Bitcoin, apparently. I'm interested to see how this is all going to develop. It's kind of fun for the memes.
What is that?
You haven't heard of Comet? They have like a Comet dog, and it's like they have Doge and just other shitcoins, and they're yeah, it's the official shitcoin of Ergo, essentially. I'll post some information up top.
That's amazing. It's starting.
Yeah, it's starting.
Yeah, I need to get my hands on some Comet and Hosky. Is it Hosky coin? Is that or Husky? Hosky?
I assume it's like a like the dog plus Charles Hoskinson, so Hosky feels right.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They're saying send 2 ADA, and then they'll send you a random amount back.
They'll also send you 1.5 ADA back.
Yeah, the transaction fee, but I don't understand it. I'm gonna have to read this.
Yeah, the Discord's pretty active. I think there's like 1,500 or 2,000 people in there already.
Can someone pin it up top because I can't seem to find them anywhere on Twitter. I'm terrible.
I think I pinned it, unless I pinned the wrong thing.
How do we find those other coins you guys were talking about, or tokens?
I posted the Ergo shitcoin next to the
next to Cardano shitcoin.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt everyone. How are we doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I feel very English, not American.
I think we have some Canadians here as well. So.
Okay, same thing. I'm joking. I'm joking. I know. So I'm kind of browsing Twitter Spaces. This is like an NFT crypto thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Or no? Tell me no if not.
We're no, yeah,
open-minded.
No, we're open-minded, cross-chain NFT degenerates.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. Can I ask, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck is NFT?
I would say you just don't even ask,
like,
man.
All I see is people spending $50,000 on some pixel art bullshit. And like, honestly, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. It just seems like mad shit.
Mad shit?
NFTs, like the things that you might be seeing, I mean, you might be completely right, but it's actually not just those things. It's actually just a terminology for a digital asset.
The non-fungible token.
Yeah, so like
it's proof you own shit on the internet.
I've heard it described as there's a JPEG online and someone owns a post-it note with the URL written on that post-it.
Okay.
Tell me.
Think about it like it's proof that you can own anything. Like, don't just silo the definition towards JPEGs and pictures. Like, think about this on like, you can attach any sort of file or information to these NFTs, and these are recorded on the blockchain. So the potential of that, like, you can record documents, you can record events in time, you can pretty much log anything and prove that something actually happened.
But is that not inherently antithetical to the nature of the internet, in that it is completely open source and widely accessible?
No, I think if anything, it enhances the internet because before there would be all these things kind of floating around.
By siloing it and restricting it to the people who spend tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, I mean, you could still save that JPEG and use it however the hell you want. You just can't prove that you own it. So
a good example, if I may just jump in, that really
Yeah,
helped me understand was like, have you guys seen Gary Vaynerchuk's VFriends on Ethereum?
No, sorry.
Yes, I love that idea.
Yeah, so like with Gary Vaynerchuk, he basically created a set of non-fungible tokens, and then he enhanced the value for owning one of these by basically saying that if you own one of these, you can gain a utility. So some of the utilities are meeting him in person, some of them are basically meeting over a Zoom, but it can only be verified if you own that single NFT, and it's only verifiable because it's on the blockchain. However, he also plans with these same NFTs to create an IP out of them in perpetuity. So in a sense, owning these, you get the utility with Gary Vaynerchuk, but you also own the first collectible of potentially a digital IP in perpetuity.
See, to me, that sounds like a kind of new age microcosmic tax avoidance. In that,
how does that even make
What?
Like going way beyond that though, like the functionality of what NFTs are going to bring and how they're going to revolutionize some industries.
okay.
Like for instance, video games. We've talked about that.
Sorry, I mean, I must have missed that bit. Please tell me one function of NFTs.
We were just talking about something, previously before I think you got here, but like think about in the future, there are these things called oracles that have access to centralized databases. So things like time, weather, your calendar, your stock portfolio, whatever, you can actually have, that kind of real-time data embedded into an NFT. So in the future, you can own these things that are yours, almost customized to your preferences. Like there's so much functionality that's coming. It's a
But
I have
bullshit.
I have a Cardano NFT.
That's complete.
I have a Cardano NFT called Stellarhood, and it's a universe, and it's literally within the NFT. You can't access it any other way. The buttons are on the NFT. It's not just a picture.
Mate,
it's an application.
Have you heard the phrase, "I will show you a
Okay.
bridge"?
Is
Let's,
Lee? Are you at a Lee? Are you at a pub in South London, bruv?
No, I live in Spain actually.
All right. Are you at a pub though?
I'm at a bar. That's what they call it out here, I think.
All right.
No,
Cheers.
look, I'm not trying to chat shit or anything. It's just, I'm trying to get my head down it because you.
No.
Go on.
Yeah. Like, okay, so it's super simple use case. You can attach a ticket to an event to an NFT. So there's a limited amount of tickets. And there's no, like, you can't make any more. You can't make any less. You sell these tickets. The event is logged forever on the blockchain, and ownership belongs to the person who owns that NFT, nobody else. And it's proved because of the underlying technology.
So there's a lot of assumption that the blockchain will become the new norm.
It's yes.
Yeah, and what's even better about that is, like, let's say you're Ticketmaster today, and like you sell a ticket to somebody. Imagine all the hands that are a part of that equation. There's Ticketmaster. There's some sort of, I don't know, cloud-based bullshit that like realizes that you own this ticket. They've got their centralized databases, all that sort of stuff. That this could all be decentralized in like a public encrypted, ledger. So that's amazing. It's like no people were involved in this transaction.
But it won't be.
Yeah, it will. And just because of the way the technology
No, because
is made.
inherently what you're doing is buying something Ticketmaster, and you have a $50 ticket with a $50 finder's fee. I mean,
okay, so what this blockchain technology does is it removes Ticketmaster as the middleman. So the artists themselves, or the event coordinators themselves, can sell directly from business to consumer without an entity like Ticketmaster. So this is the whole point of the blockchain and
in a trustless form as well.
Another, if I may just add, because I actually love this conversation, is if you play video games, Lee, then if you play a video game that's owned by, like, let's say that you play something like World of Warcraft, right? Well, if you have an axe that you get that's legendary or whatnot, you can only really sell it in game for basically a currency that doesn't cost anything. But what's really cool about NFTs is they allow digital ownership. So that way, if there's a game built on the blockchain and you get an axe that's super rare, you not only own it as an asset that you can exchange for real value by selling it on the marketplace, but you can also lend it out And because it's on the blockchain, because it's a digital asset, you can make passive income by lending out that legendary axe and make real income on decentralized marketplaces. It's just like the evolution of
Yeah, it is a complex use case, but I like it. You're for sure.
No,
You like that?
No, I totally understand that. I think my issue is, and it's probably something that I'm in the complete wrong group for, but it just seems
It's all good.
It seems antithetical to the idea of the internet. The idea of the internet, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was inclusivity, and it's leaned so much towards exclusivity to the point now where there are in-game items. I saw an example where someone could purchase Mario in Mario Kart, and that's theirs. And if they want to sell him, they can flip him for a profit if Mario performs well in Mario Kart. It's like that's completely backwards to what the internet was built for.
I come from the internet of the era you're describing. Like I remember the late 90s internet, mid 90s internet.
Oh, the chat rooms, they were mad.
Yeah, and it was awesome. You could do whatever you wanted. There was like less censorship. Now it's gotten to the point where everything is so personalized to what they think you want to see that you almost get like tunnel vision. And what I think is amazing about blockchain is that's almost gone. It reminds me of like that exciting internet from the mid to late 90s where there's no more what's the word I'm looking for? Censorship. Like if I put things on the blockchain, no one can really censor me. They could censor, like an explorer can stop me from viewing something, but it's still on the chain. So I actually think like if anything, this reminds me of the internet of old, and that's what's kind of pioneering and exciting about the whole thing.
I totally understand what you're saying. I think, and again, I think of the land rush. Oh, where the fuck was it? I don't want to say Oklahoma. I'm not American. I can't remember. There was a time when the British invaded the US, all that bullshit, and it was like there's 50,000 square miles. If you run and put a flag down, you can claim it. And that happened in history, and it's become the United States nowadays. But what you're putting your flag down into is this free, open world, and you're creating borders. And my point here is that the internet is free, it's open. Open source is an incredible thing. It's the best thing of the internet. But blockchain, NFTs, digital token ownership, whatever it's called, I don't know the terminology, it's creating these tiny miniature gardens which are just feeding upwards everyone's paying someone, and it's going to the same people as before, but we're creating walled gardens between ourselves.
Yeah, man.
But Lee, just really quickly, I want to touch on something here. Like a lot of people, right, when the internet first came about, there were people building these browsers, and I think a lot of us here and on other blockchains, we're building things in the hopes. I mean, a lot of people are into crypto because we like decentralization. So it can feel like there are these clubs and like you aren't a part of them, but a great use case like that are coming about, right? Have you ever bought a fake ticket to like a sporting game, right? Like if you've ever been scammed out of something, you can't verify the authenticity of it. NFTs, like people said earlier, can be used for tickets to verify the authenticity of it and make sure that people don't get scammed out of their money, at the end of the day. So that's like a basic use case. But I think, try to keep your mind open and like keep learning about it and see like that it's, I think a lot of us are here to like help each other, and Cardano specifically is trying to help use blockchain tech to help a lot of communities, especially in Africa, that have real issues with documents and licenses and IDs and
That's
verification
a really good
documents,
point.
identification.
Yeah, like if
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
a
I
lot
mean,
of this
that's
tech
so
is going
important.
to the developing world first. So like, if anything, I think it's bridging the gap. So I don't know.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like I've come into this as being a big dickhead. The English guy chatting shit again. But no, I think my final question before I do that kind of avoid causing more drama is that you said that the internet is supposed to be a big decentralized place to kind of let people roam free. You didn't quite say that. Sorry, that's what I inferred. But I see blockchain and NFTs as a lot of miniature centralizations, a lot of small walled gardens, instead of people being able to share JPEGs or tokens, whatever, freely, but now a small part of that is owned and unable to be shared. And is that not going against of the free spirit of it?
So how can it not be shared though? That I don't agree with your assessment. Like,
well, if it can't be shared, why are you buying it?
I mean, it can be shared. Who said you can't share it?
No. I suppose that's why I don't understand. If it can't be shared, or no, if it can be shared, sorry, why are people paying money for it?
I mean, because
domain,
we can authenticate it, right? So, like, let's say you have a copy of the
what?
Mona Lisa.
Authenticate what? Yeah.
Like, let's say you have a copy of the Mona Lisa, and it was done by another artist, and it looks identical. Like, why is the original worth more? Because it's real.
It's context. Yeah.
Yeah. So we provide that context and authenticate that.
But it's a digital context.
Sure.
Does that mean? Is that worth anything?
I
think it is. So, like,
I don't.
Let's say you.
I mean, it is.
I don't know how to raise my hand, so I want to interject because I have a good example, and that is the ownership of IP. Right? Walt Disney owns Mickey Mouse, yet millions of people watch Mickey Mouse. You could still share Mickey Mouse, but Walt Disney owns Mickey Mouse. That's what the point is. That's why somebody can own the NFT and yet share.
That's completely opposite the point. Disney own Mickey Mouse, and they subsidize and they go through many different avenues. The picture of Mickey Mouse in a t-shirt in a pawn shop has gone through 50, 100 different vendors who all pay their way up to Disney. But yeah, nothing stops me on you drawing a picture of Disney, which makes Disney's ownership of Mickey Mouse worthless.
Tell that to Disney's valuation.
No, Disney's value. Disney's valuation comes from money. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to take over. Disney's valuation comes from monetization. Me and you drawing a picture of Mickey Mouse will not incur any fees, but Disney themselves can make the next Avengers film and make $1 billion.
Dude, you don't know basic IP if that's what you're saying. If somebody wanted to buy the Mickey Mouse IP, it would cost them hundreds of millions of dollars.
No. I understand IP. I'm not going to get into details, but all I'm saying is Disney own the IP, Disney own the copyright, all that bullshit. Yeah, which is why Disney can monetize the next execution of Mickey Mouse. But me and you right now, I can tweet a picture right now of Mickey Mouse, and Disney can't do shit. I'm not making any money off it, which is why.
All right, 1 second here, guys. Let's try not to talk over each other here. And I do like the topic. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't understand NFTs, and that's what we're trying to help here. It would help a little bit too if you weren't talking from such a loud pub or bar. It's kind of hard to hear you, but I'm going to give the mic over to Rekindle. He's been trying to speak.
Yeah, no, okay, so all I was going to say, like, without understanding the underlying technology at all, objectively speaking, it would be logical to think that there is something here because these digital assets are being traded for $69 million. So
that's a great point, man. And if I may just throw out another example that I heard that really helped me understand too, and then we can switch topics or do whatever. But there was do you guys know Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so like it's interesting because I was watching this video on him and he was talking about the watch industry. And basically with these like, $1 million watches, what his goal with NFTs is to create partnerships with some of the watch brands. So think like Rolex, and think if you can actually just create an NFT. So when you buy one of these $1 million watches, you also have the NFT that's verifiable on the blockchain that you bought it from the dealership. He says that basically this will drastically reduce insurance costs because if somebody, there's a lot of fake watches in the market. So if somebody were to sell you an NFT, some of the reasons why you would get insurance is if it's fake. For a watch. So if somebody were to sell you an NFT with the watch, then the insurance costs, since it's verifiable on the blockchain, this is the same watch and the same NFT from Rolex itself, would go greatly down. And I thought that was a very interesting take.
Can I provide an example?
Kind of similar to that. Like, the reason why I like a big fan of NFTs is like, I started thinking about it as more as like, since we're going towards more of like a digital time, we're going towards the more like the metaverse stuff. What's going to end up happening is like, we saw Nike do like a patent for virtualizing their logo, or I forget the details of that, but companies like Nike, companies like designer brands like Gucci and stuff, they're going to drop like NFT bags that you can redeem in store to get like that actual item. And then, like, since we're going towards the metaverse, you're gonna be able to wear like your digital item and have the physical one. So it's kind of just merging like reality and virtual reality in one, which is just like sweet.
That's so awesome. Just as a guy who used to like sell stuff on eBay, because you can now just get a bunch of these digital NFTs that represent physical items and just hold them. And now your closet will actually have some space because you don't need to put sneakers or cards in the closets.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing, like, people aren't like as much as I'm like not about that shit, like, doesn't matter, but people like love status. Like, that's never gonna go away from society. People love showing off what they have. Like, if you're like a rich person and you buy like a Lamborghini, like, sure, someone can like a couple people can see a Lamborghini, it's in your garage. But if you go out and you buy like some kind of expensive ass like NFT, like a CryptoPunk or something like really rare, like millions and millions of people can see that. So like, that's just going to happen. Like, the rich are going to stop buying Rolexes. I mean, they're not going to stop, but they're going to move on to digital assets where you can show it off in like the metaverse. You can show it off in your profile. It's going to be verifiable via Twitter because they're integrating that. So it's just like, we're going towards the digital times, and I mean, that's just how it is.
What's that called? It's status signaling or something, right?
Something like that, yeah. Like, you see every top celebrity right now has like a Bored Ape, and like, I'm like a big fan of the project. I just think it's so cool because like, I'm in New York right now. I don't have an ape, sadly, but like, they had like the Ape Fest where you literally got access to go to these like events and meet all these people simply for having a Bored Ape. So you go there, you verify your ape with your wallet, you get access to a ticket. So it's like, you join a community, you join this NFT, and it just unlocks so many other things. So just like, and NFTs, it's like a cool ticket that like gets you in the community that you get airdropped, and it's just like a lot of cool innovative stuff happening with the space.
I also think
I think we're talking about the difference between two concepts. One is commodifying exclusivity and one is commodifying authenticity. So authenticity is things like ownership, whereas exclusivity is things like tickets, passports, shipping containers, that sort of a thing.
But they're both use cases with, NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, I firmly believe like your passport, your license, like your degree, like that's all going to be put on the blockchain because like you just can't fake that. Like, there's not going to be any more. Like,
we already have with our skulls, we have a identity token solution. So like, you can show, you can connect your social media potentially to like the NFTs that you own. So, and then when you start thinking about like how that's going to be integrated with smart contract marketplaces and all that sort of stuff, it's your one's identity can become the storefront for one's digital assets or assets in general. Like, it's all going in that direction. It's interesting stuff. But yeah, identities are going to be tokenized potentially.
I have a question for everyone.
Let's let Lauren speak first.
Sorry, thanks. Just real quickly, I wanted to say, like, I think especially something that I've felt a lot is with passport specifically, right? Like, I had someone come visit me recently from out of the States, and like, we were going out, and my one friend Kat, she's from London, and I'm only 23, but we still get ID'd at some of these bars. And obviously you don't want to bring your passport around because you're drinking. Like, if you lose that, you're kind of screwed. I think one of the best use cases that we're going to see for some of this tech is just going to be obviously passports and other documents like that. I mean, imagine just being able to use something like that and bring that out with you and have just a digital copy with you that is authentic and that's universally accepted. Whoever comes out with something that, some type of org that comes out and they can set that up, that's going to be huge and really change for a lot of people. Like, when I go and
that's
travel,
a Tyler Prism right there.
I can't wait to go to a bouncer, pull up my phone, pull up my ID, and be like, blockchain, bitch.
and so you gotta accept it. No,
that's a great point.
Seriously, I mean, I think that's going to be super cool. Just your IDs, any documents that you might need, even like visas and things like that. paper's like dangerous. It can be burned, it can be ruined. Like it's
I can't wait to never have to remember a password again. That's what I can't wait for.
From what I understand, what you just described
God, yeah,
is
me
a
too.
teleprism. You know, with the ID and the passport and the credentials all in one place.
Yeah, there's this identity token solution that the A2PH people made. It's pretty much like the precursor to that. Like they've built the fundamental foundation of what an identity token is, basically what Italoprism is made, except without the whole like Italoprism is doing like customized solutions for fucking like for nation states, right? And education systems. But you know, now the only really other solution out there is either Cardano keys that they don't have a product out yet, and this identity token made by A2PH.
For sure. And I mean, like that's when we were talking about how somebody was mentioning about how you know, this is, I guess, disenfranchising blockchain is somewhat. It doesn't make any sense. Like in Africa right now, everyone's education is being put on the chain, is going to give people access to credit in the future. Like it's amazing stuff is being done, especially in the third world. So like they're going to have governance systems more advanced than the Western world in, you know, a decade. So it'll be very interesting to see how, you know, the United States adapts to that.
It definitely does take time to wrap your head around a lot of this stuff, going from the physical to the virtual.
I also want to add that with Italoprism or DIDs, decentralized identities, it will really diminish or like lower the amount of identity theft, like going forward. So I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, I could still imagine it happening. People like give up their phone passwords and all that sort of stuff. So
I mean,
you know,
these DIDs are going to be
yeah.
seed phrases, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's an issue that, from like what it sounds like, it's going to have to be like a centralized entity kind of issuing these kind of like passports and licenses and stuff? Or do you think they're going to come up with a solution that like kind of decentralizes that? I mean, that's like a central point of failure right there. If like,
I don't know, man. I mean, when you get to that level, you're talking about how governments are going to implement this stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, the government is the centralized entity there, and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be
It's a good point,
centralized at that level, and then, but maybe there will be some sort of decentralized chain that it, you know, integrates with, that multiple governments agree to like some sort of standard or something. I don't know.
Frankly, we need like a centralized authority, like our government, to police, you know, identity creation, so people aren't, you know, doing scammy shit with it, you know.
Well, I think it starts, you know, on the internet first on a very low level. If a bunch of like different websites or stuff, I like support, you know, their architecture supports identity tokens and you know, plugging that in, and you have it's a decentralized login system basically. Like if you know, it starts there.
It's
right?
if things can make my life simpler, if I don't have to remember 20 different passwords and variances to achieve like the rules of said website, like I'm gonna do it. So this sort of solution, I feel like, you know, with a NAMI wallet or MetaMask integration or something like that, I can imagine just the web experience becoming so much better in the years to come.
That's literally one of my favorite parts about like the whole Web3 like revolution. Like signing up for like dApps and stuff is like literally one click. Like you sign up, you don't really need to make a first name, last name, email. You just have one thing. You sign a transaction. That's it. And you're verified. It just makes things so easy. Like the onboarding's 3 seconds.
You know, there's kind of like a double-edged sword with that too. I was just thinking about it, but you know, because it's so easy, you might just not make sure that what you're signing up for is legit, and you know, there could be bad actors that could just, you know, once you connect it, just wipes out your entire wallet. So this is double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's a good. Another thing, I guess, that I've never really like thought about how a good solution is implemented, because like, I mean, right now, like we're getting like educated so much about like securing your stuff, securing your seed, but like what does end up happening when like you forgot or like you lose your like your password or your seed phrase, and you're kind of just like fucked. Like there's not really a good solution I found, at least, or read up on, that like kind of is trying to come up with a way to like figure that out. But I feel like that's definitely going to be an issue. Like, I mean, that's inevitable. People just lose their stuff. So I mean, you lose your password and then you're done forever.
Yeah, man. I know some people know in here that lost the seed phrase for a large chunk of money that they can't access anymore. That happens. So you got to make sure you're on point with your shit, or put it somewhere that is hopefully secure enough where it's not that big of a deal.
That's ultimately what like banks and regulation are like afraid of. It's the totality of these transactions. Like once you send this through, there's no insurance policy that can bring that money back. It's very one way.
Yeah, but like that's why they can't be error prone, right? Like we just have to be good with
I do agree that humans are definitely error prone and they'll lose those seed phrases. But I think in the future, there'll be a startup company that tackles that problem and win.
Maybe we can breed better humans.
Well, it's kind of just like owning your own property. I mean, risks come to owning your own gold and your own safe and your own house. You got to be careful of not losing that. It's far harder to lose it. One thing I did want to ask you guys actually real quick on this is, what's your thoughts on like some anonymous dApps? Because I saw a really cool tweet, like kind of conversation between Mark Cuban, I think, and Charles Hoskinson. And it was basically on just like how regulation is going to require a lot of dApp builders to create non-anonymous dApps, especially with here in the US. So I was just curious on like, this is kind of in line with giving people the ability to verify themselves on a smaller scale to maybe Cardano, IOHK, but maybe not to the masses if they're afraid of, completely doxing themselves. Or what's the general air in conversation on that?
I have opinions, but I don't know. I feel like the things that are being developed, because the legal area is so gray, I feel like a lot of people are going anonymous because they don't want any blowback. So I don't know. Let's let Kiwi answer.
I think that's a phase 5 problem, right? On the roadmap, right? Governance. I think it's going to be related to that, and whatever that problems need to be solved, they'll probably be solved then.
Yeah. Hey. Look, just going on about the human error thing and the fact that they need to make more human readable addresses and things like that. There's already projects dead working on that. I don't know how many of you guys have run across Ada Handle. Ada Handle is currently in the middle of doing its beta drop for the human readable addresses, and you'll be able to send to a name that is an NFT that will be in your wallet, and when you send to that NFT, it drops it automatically in the wallet that the NFT is stored in. So there's ways and means of dealing with it all now. As long as you don't misspell the person's name or the business's name, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point for just like having human readable addresses to get like funds sent to you, but the issue of recovering lost like seed phrases is still up in the air. But I agree, it's getting easier for like the Ada handle stuff's really cool. I've been reading up on that.
You mistype and your entire livelihood is at stake. What do you think about that?
Welcome to crypto.
If everybody could share the space, that would be really cool. It helps us out, gets more people in here. And personally, I'm trying to compete with the other guys that are running the Epoch pools, Epoch's N spaces. So,
what do you mean, man? They're our friends.
That little giggle at the end. Typical, classic.
We don't usually try to compete with them, but because our space has been every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, it just so happens that the Epoch's end.
I'm just a really competitive person, okay? This is just a personal victory.
Share it and get your family members to share it.
One thing I do like about the Ada handle is I feel like, you know how in Discords, like when there's a drop for an NFT, like instead of copy pasting the address for the wallet that you're going to buy the NFT through, you just copy paste the Ada handle, and that could definitely prevent a lot of scams in a sense. I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, because you know how when there's a drop, and a bunch of other people post like a wallet address, and it confuses the people who are buying.
For sure. I still don't know the difference between this and ADA domains, but yeah, I think it's a good value proposition, you know.
I mean, at the same time, like, where are they going to be storing these handles at? Like, it's going to be some sort of centralized server unless they come up with some sort of decentralized solution. But
yeah, good point. I'm not too sure about that, but I do know they have partnered up with like NAMI and I believe CC Wallet maybe.
From what I understand, your handle is an NFT, but I still don't know how that works.
It's kind of like Cash
Well, I
App
hope
and it's like Cash App and Venmo, right? It like makes it easier. I feel like it links up to your wallet.
yeah,
It
it's
makes
like
it easier for you to
instead
like
of
post. Yeah.
for people to pay you, they don't need your wallet address. They just need like sacred.ada or something.
And yeah, there are two of them, ADA handle and ADA domain, somebody said. So I was talking about ADA handle. That's how they do it. NFT. They NFT it.
Yeah.
I look at ADA handle as like potentially, and ADA domains, I guess it depends on which one becomes the more prevalent, as like early domain names too. So there could be a market for just buying up ADA handles and ADA domain names and then just reselling them as digital property in the future.
No, I went ham, man, on this stuff. So yeah, for sure.
The handle said like they're not trying to do domain name. Like they posted a thread like maybe like 30 minutes ago or something explaining like ADA handle was not meant to be like a ADA DNS thing. They're trying to like extract that or like separate that because like the Web 2 AI. I forgot, I haven't read it fully, but like I'm pretty sure they're not trying to make it like a DNS thing.
Yeah.
So
ADA domains claims to be both. I don't know. We'll find out. I looked at the team and initially I was like, Slovenia, that's scary. But then the guy that's like spearheading the project is like a math PhD, like with a Haskell background. So it gave me a bit more confidence in the project.
Can you guys explain what you mean by those? Is it like a .ada?
Yeah, they have like they were selling domain names for .ada addresses.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, I like, I don't know, .ada addresses that exist. So like, I don't know, store.ada or whatever, or things like that. Any domain with a .ada ticker.
Meta.ada.
Yeah, meta.ada, and then like the token goes in your wallet, and then you can sell that, I guess, separately. And then you control the domain, so it's like a decentralized ownership of a .ada domain, essentially.
And once you own it forever?
Until you sell it, yeah. And
so they're essentially they're acting as GoDaddy. Do they?
Yeah, or like, I guess they apparently got access to the .ada domain somehow, and just started selling ownership in a decentralized manner.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
Rekindle, were you about to say something? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just laughing at Hype's criticism over Slovenians.
No, not criticism. It's just like,
yeah,
I
what
see
was
this
up with that,
European
dude?
country, and I'm just like weary because there's less accountability there. So like, I just had to peel a few more layers of that onion. And as someone that is Eastern European, to a certain extent, I have a little bit of frame of reference there. So yeah, I just did a little bit more due diligence on that team.
Leave Slovenia alone, dude.
What's up, Andy? How are you doing?
So I'm great. Thanks for asking, Derek. Just hanging out, listening to this. Had a blast listening to Lee. Anthony, how are you here, dude?
How am I here?
Yeah, how'd you make it today, dude?
I don't know. We made it. We had a late night last night with some other Cardano NFT people in Hollywood. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kind of bummed out Fet's not here, man. I wanted to talk about the ABHS thing, but
I mean, I'm and we're here. We're
well,
on
let's
that
bring
project.
it up, man. I'm just curious. I just want to see how, people in this space feel about ABHS. and its kind of goal of bringing Ethereum users into Cardano. Because I've heard all kinds of stuff, positive, negative, but it's a good talking point. I think, it's something we should bring up and talk about. It's interesting.
I'd like to hear Jay Crypto's thoughts on that.
I don't know much about it, to be honest with you.
Okay, so basically we're dropping a collection on Ethereum, and then we're connecting your Ethereum wallet to an ADA wallet, and then airdropping a bunch of NFTs on the Cardano blockchain. So what we're doing is trying to get these guys, hang a carrot over on this blockchain, get these guys on, operating on Cardano and seeing.
Yeah, showing them a different user experience, essentially, which is kind of cool.
I really
and then
like that.
Bringing greater liquidity to the chain, fundamentally, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a clever project. I wish I thought about it first.
I really, really like that. I think that's incredibly smart. What are these NFTs, and what can you tell me about the NFT project?
Yeah, they're angels. There's it's a collection of 1100 100 1100 111 11,111 angel babies with weapons like ARs and katanas and nunchucks and stuff like that. Just a fun little project on the art side of things. But yeah, angel babies. We're trying to.
Yeah, and they use a service called Bondly apparently to like you get your Ethereum address and you like link it up to your Cardano wallet address, and then they've tied up exclusively with a number of projects like Space Buds and so forth in the Cardano world to do airdrops there. So I think there was some criticism that it makes it a bit harder to be accessible to the Cardano community, but I think it's cool because bring some liquidity over. It's a good thing. We all have the same goal.
Yeah, and you're building a community from people natively on Ethereum too, which is going to be very fun and interesting to see what their experience is with Cardano once they come over. I think that's great.
Yeah, the only friction is really just connecting the wallet, like the actual going to the website, clicking connect and signing that transaction. That's like the only friction between that, and from after that, they don't have to do anything. It's just airdrops.
What was that service called? Bondly?
Bondly, yeah. They're really into cross-chain wrapping assets and stuff like that, and now they're focusing on Cardano at the moment.
Is there like a Bondly Finance? Is it that one?
Yes, that
cool.
one.
Yeah, that's a very interesting project, by the way, because I used to study them over on the Binance Smart Chain. So it's cool to see them getting into Cardano. Sorry, Rekindle, I think you were about to say something.
No, yeah, like their team is super huge. I think honestly, they might like the team on this side is like a sub team of their entire organization, and then they've started another company called Lovelace Metaverse as a Service, which is like I don't know, like the same people, I guess, but they provide services just like my company actually. Business model is pretty much the same.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that about your company either, Rekindle, since this is the first time that we have had the chance to speak. Would you mind just like going into that real quick on what your business does?
Okay, yeah. So it's called the Rekindle Collective, and we basically take in artists and we basically nurture them and launch their NFT projects by building customized smart contract solutions or just blockchain infrastructure in general. Starting with a vending machine, like what the difference between what we want to do as opposed to these other guys is more on the sophistication of the architectural design of these systems. So like I don't know if you guys saw Alessandro's tweet of his elegant non-congesting chain solution for NFT drop vending machines, but that kind of design level is what we want to provide, because frankly, like people that build off of NFT Maker Pro or BuffyBot people and other developers in the space, they're not really optimizing their systems for performance. So we really, really, really care about that kind of stuff, and we want to offer that to NFT artists, and not only just that, but smart contract solutions, marketplace integrations, possibly gamification, like all of this stuff kind of you know builds into each other. So like, um, you know, yeah.
So yeah, the Hype Vapor project will be one of the projects that we're going to be showcasing a lot of this technology with.
So when would this be ready, Rekindle? If you're able to, or it's okay if you can't tell us when, but just wondering.
I'm not going to give like specific dates, but we should be launching stuff this month, and starting with the hype vapor, and also a couple other NFT drops that I'm not going to talk about at the moment. But yeah.
Nice. Really cool.
One quick thought on that, Rekindle. I think that that's so cool, man, because I see this huge white space for Cardano, especially because Cardano is green. Cardano is very consumer centric. It's really relatively cheap to use. And I believe that there's going to be this flood of athletes, celebrities that are going to, and I talked about this with Anthony from Hype Schools actually. And basically they're going to be coming to Cardano. They're going to be coming into the space and not know what to do on the blockchain side, not know what to do on the artistic side. And it sounds like you have set yourself up to really capture and really help those kinds of NFT projects that want to give access to their fans, want to give utility to their fans in some type of way in perpetuity.
I saw your interview with the hype Anthony and Armin, and when you were talking about that sort of umbrella company, I was just laughing because Anthony and they're my partners, and we're this is what we do, right? So it's just so funny to listen.
I was wondering who would do it first, or what if somebody was already thinking that, because I just saw this huge blue ocean, man. That's awesome. I'm excited for you.
Dude, I love the business school terms you use with relative frequency. It's awesome. White space, opportunity, blue ocean. My language.
I never went to business school, by the way, or college.
I know, but you're using all the right buzzwords.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, I mean, there's huge opportunity in providing solutions for like for artists like that, and it's a growing space. Lovelace Metaverse as a Service is one of I guess our one of the competing companies, but like there's
so much room in the market. We just want to do cool shit and add value and make it easier for other people to do the same thing afterwards. That's fundamentally what we're doing.
Because ultimately, everybody's invested in this coin, and the more you build and the more you provide these solutions, the more avenues that are allow people to make more money, and like in terms of like the NFT projects, which in turn adds value to the underlying asset, which in turn adds value to your portfolio.
So one last thing, and this is not like a planned shill fest, by the way. These are honest questions from Jay Crypto to Rekindle. But if there is a celebrity or an athlete or an entrepreneur that is in the audience, where could they go to like talk to you and just like find out if their project or their idea is the right fit?
We're working on a website, just like some place where you can like get in contact with us and see what we provide. We're not there yet, so really just the internal kind of discussion.
Yeah, I mean, our web presence is currently being updated, so just DM us, man. In the next couple of weeks, that'll all be different.
That's awesome.
Hey, Tony, you just got added to speaker. What do you have to talk about here?
I was just listening, really.
Well, thank you for listening.
No problem.
Blew his spot up. Like, talk.
I got to run, guys, but it was great chatting with you guys. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks.
See you, man.
See you, Mr. Wizard.
But yeah, Angel Baby Hit Squad is almost ready. I actually think it is ready. We're just scaling up the back end servers for the website, as soon as that's done, we're waiting for gas to go down a little bit, and then we'll launch. So
Do they have
yeah,
the same issues as like a lot of Cardano drops? I don't know. Like, is there like a 50% chance this isn't going to go well?
I actually am not sure. I mean, I think I'm relying on the devs here to really know their stuff, and I think they do. I mean, they're pretty good. It's Marcus from he's done a bunch of drops on Cardano and helped a lot of people out. So yeah,
I have two.
It's always it's squeaky bum time, man. It's like I remember when our drop was happening. It's just it's so frustrating. So I hope it all goes well.
yeah.
I was going to say I have two questions regarding the Angel Baby Hit Squad. Well, not really regarding it, but is there a way to predict gas fees? And secondly, are you guys like doing any airdrops? Like, are any ETH creators doing airdrops on Cardano for Angel Baby Hit Squad?
So the first one is okay. The gas. There's a website called Ethereum Tracker where you can see what the current price on average of like ERC20 transfers are. And I looked at it all morning. It kind of hovers around 35 to $40. And I'm not sure how much traffic is going to be generated with this project, but I don't expect it to get crazy like that. Like for it to go up to like $180 per transfer, it's got to be like some Stoner Cats type level of millions and millions and millions of sessions a second trying to talk to the network. But so I predict it's going to be like less than $50 per transfer, and we're allowing up to seven mints per transaction. So with that, the price of gas goes up by a little bit, but it doesn't like scale per NFT. So it's not like 40 bucks times 7. It's really just like $45 instead of $37. In terms of the Ethereum people on Cardano, no, we're just giving them like a Cardano starter pack, like, and we want to, we understand that there's a lot more capital flowing in that market, and we want to provide them the same amount of the same kind of incentive that they would find on that market on Cardano network. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just wondering if there was also going to be like ETH creators moving over and testing out like airdropping on Cardano and how much smoother and cheaper it is.
Really good idea.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like we should encourage Fettuccine to do that because why not? And these airdrops aren't happening tomorrow. I love that. I love that concept, and I'd love to do something similar on Cardano the other way around. So I don't know. Maybe something will happen in the future.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we can still play with. It's still early in my view, so we can pivot wherever. Really,
it's so early. And I think that right now Cardano and our market over here on Cardano for NFTs is just it's about to bloom relatively soon, I'll say. And once we get more dApps going and more DeFi happening, I think that other places that aren't quite as knowledgeable about Cardano's setup will be stunned and shocked at the movement that comes over here. I really do believe that.
Why do you believe that?
Why do I believe which part of that?
Yeah, like why do you believe? I don't know what.
Because I think that what happened was when Solana dropped and started to build and had some things going, we saw the NFT markets over on Solana really just explode. For how long they've been around. I think that since I saw both Polygon and Binance Smart Chain right around their 2 million, unique wallet addresses mark, I've had the luxury to see that once stuff gets building, I mean, I think people are discounting Cardano because we haven't had liquid finance drop yet. Like you can't do DeFi yet. But I think once people see that any veil of taking Cardano lightly will be just completely shattered and burned to the ground. And people will really see that this is not just hype. Like, we've been building or you guys really have been building an incredible foundation to not only innovate, but also keep the things that people like about other blockchains going, and just continue to innovate on top of that.
Absolutely. That's DeFi is the next catalyst, and it's a bit speculative to say, but what you're saying is absolutely correct. Once DeFi is enabled, once people start figuring out that you can start getting 3 streams of income by delegating the same
Yes.
ADA, like it's once people figure that out, you're going to see a flood, more exponential growth of this chain, more than we've seen. Yeah.
Not financial advice.
I completely agree. And it's, I'm not saying this and I don't judge this in any way, but money has a huge part to bringing adoption. And I think humans ultimately, like most of us, we need to make enough money to, support our families and pay for our family members if they get sick or we get sick. So I think that, like, from the consumer lens, once we get building and once we have some things that catch a little wind and creators start to market them and so on and so forth, like, the foundation is so strong though, because what I've studied with, and you guys can speak to this too, with the extended UTX model, it's kind of like a next evolution of both what Bitcoin had with the UTX and then with what Ethereum has going, and all the different languages that are provided on Cardano. There's not like really any competitors that are integrating all those different facets. And that's going to allow a lot more building capability from just a consumer's point of view, which will bring more money, which will bring more people, so on and so forth.
Does anyone know how many wallets there are with NFTs on Cardano now? I don't know that number like real time. If anyone's paid attention.
Or if somebody has a site to go look at that, because I was looking for that earlier.
Yeah, there needs to be like an analytics website on Cardano.
A free site too. There's a lot of them that asked me to pay, but I didn't pay just because I wanted to find that free site that says the analytics.
There is a good free site, but they don't have the graph of how many wallets hold NFTs. That should be something we can request, but I'm pretty sure Smog would have an answer to that.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's this Google Docs or like Google Charts site that somebody keeps up and running. It shows all those analytics. There's on-chain analysis stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be cool to like pin or something if anybody has that.
I have it. I'll make a tweet and then pin it.
Thank you so much. So what else is going on with Cardano? Like, where are we at? What's the next steps? What's kind of like where we're at? I'd love somebody that's a little bit more educated on the processes right now to kind of go into that.
In terms of Cardano, we're building smart contracts. Plutus is really hard. It really
Why?
is.
By the way,
one, it's a new language, completely new, like the libraries that Cardano provides. So it's basically Haskell, and Haskell is a functional programming language, and it requires a completely different way of thinking than imperative languages. So object-oriented languages like Java, you're working with logic of objects in code. This is a completely different system that works with recursive functions, and you just have to think about this differently. You're working more with state machine mechanisms or state machine systems and stuff like that. I'm not a developer, but that's my understanding.
Someone you asked what's next, and What's next is the PAB, the Plutus Application Backend. They, from what I understand, they are testing it now, and what that allows developers, DApp developers to do is to connect more easily with Cardano, with the blockchain, from what I understand. And once that happens, once it goes from test to mainnet, that's when you should expect to see a flood of these DeFi dApps and other dApps start hitting the network and start bringing value to Cardano.
And to add to that, around the same time the Plutus Applications backend is launching, the ERC20 converter will be launching as well. So lots of exciting things coming.
When's that? Is that happening at the same time? Because that's huge.
I believe so. In the next several weeks, I did find a tweet where from IOHK said they're launching around the same time.
Yeah, the PAB,
presumably.
the PAB is going to be like late November.
So, like, if I have an Ethereum token and then I want to convert it to Cardano, what happens? Does the Ethereum one still exist? Like, how does that hold? What does it do? I don't know if anyone knows that.
So, I mean, if Jamie
Sorry,
knows.
can you repeat that? I missed half of what you said.
So I'm saying, like, if I have this ERC20 token and I convert it, like, what happens to the ERC20 token? Still exist? Is it just like a proof of that token being converted? Like, what's the value proposition there?
That's a great question.
What I believe it'll make it'll mint, so to speak, that said token on the Cardano blockchain, and I don't know if it burns it on Ethereum or if it holds it there locked up.
It burns it. It's a it burns. There's a hash to record, like a proof of burn, and then that hash is recorded on the mint on the Cardano side. So there's a reference to that Ethereum token burning.
When I burn my AGIX over onto Cardano, I'll let you know.
Insomnium, what's that?
Hi everyone. I was wondering what you guys think about NAMI enabling Web 3.0 features and functions on Cardano, for example, by integrating it on websites.
I welcome it.
I think it's dope.
I got it's a beta, I think, for integrating minting into Discord. I'm not sure what to think about that though, because of Discord's reputation for being easily hacked. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
If you do it right, you can totally do it, and there's not a problem. But if you do it wrong, you're gonna get hacked.
Right.
Yeah, the only solution would be probably to use like a VPN. At least that's what people suggest to do, for example, when you're doing a live stream on Discord and you don't want to get hacked. But yeah, I wouldn't really know how that would work for NAMI, for example. But
it's a matter of writing a script for a bot that you can add to your Discord server.
I actually have one somebody sent to me that I've been checking out. If anybody's interested in checking it out also, I can send you the link to the Discord, which sends you to a download for NAMI wallet attachment.
Well, is it CardanoCon?
Hang on, let me check. I think it might be. I just got it the other day, but yeah, it links directly to your NAMI wallet.
Yeah, that sounds like CardanoCon.
Yeah, it might be. I think the dev's name is Sebastian.
CardanoCon?
Yeah, that sounds like
I'm
it could
pretty
be right.
sure.
I'm just going to double check. You guys can continue on while I look for this.
Yeah, if it's NAMI, then I have a feeling it is CardanoCon. It's pretty cool. You can mint NFTs on your Discord and some other features.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
Cardano
dope.
Connect. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Connect.
Yeah, I'm interested in getting more into that, but I wanted to hear some people's thoughts on it because I'm very wary of Discord lately. Like, I've even been doing my streaming through Twitch and just holding spaces at the same time.
No, it's good. It's good. I mean, you have to build the system first, connect the wallet, but then you have to make the bot well, you just have to make the system. if you do it wrong, you know, you're vulnerable.
Has anybody else used it and had success with it?
I've tried it out on my Discord, but I haven't really used it. I've just tested it out.
Okay.
Something easier that can be done, for example, by integrating Nami on a website, and that's also, wait, hold up. Okay, sorry. Something cool that can be done at the moment by integrating Nami to a website would be, for example, to, you know, like some sort of identification features. So, for example, if a collector has got, you know, specific NFT, then you can trigger some events directly on the website without having to rely on, I don't know, on other things. So I think that's pretty dope, and I don't get why there aren't many NFT projects doing that, taking advantage of that, because Nami really opens up to a lot of possibilities, especially after the last update.
Yeah, this is kind of going back to what Jay Crypto was saying about where we're at currently on Cardano. Like on the developer side, there's really not a lot of like talented developers that can integrate, that know how to integrate this kind of stuff and implement that into a website. Like it's being done. There are some people working on it, but it hasn't been developed enough where it could be reused in open source. So, you know,
It's interesting that
but
you mentioned that, because our blockchain developer actually yesterday at like 4 a.m. out of the blue, he was playing around with it, and he's actually doing sort of basic NAMI integration on our website, where the user just needs to click on a button, he can connect his NAMI wallet instantly, and then first of all he can easily view all his Infomnium NFTs straight on the website, and then we can exploit that function in order to trigger specific events. For example, they can claim special NFTs if they own a specific NFT, and 100 other things. So obviously it's something that he literally bumped into and managed to figure out like at a very late time in the AM. So today we've been playing around with it, and it's amazing. Honestly, we are really excited to exploit this function. So it would be great if, you know, there were other projects that have already been tinkering with it, so that we can kind of like brainstorm ideas and share what we've done so far.
In regards to that, I'm pretty
Sorry,
new to.
Kesley, sorry, just a second. Kiwi Crypto has had his or her hand up for a while. I'd just like to let them speak.
Hi guys. Look, yeah, sorry about any background noise there. I'm driving the truck. Yeah, just more about that ERC20 converter bridge, because there seems to be a bit of confusion over that for a lot of people. Just to clarify, yes, it will bridge ERC tokens to Cardano and back. It will only really be usable for projects that obviously have a Cardano backend. So don't go burning, like switching across for projects that don't have Cardano support. Koji, Ajax, Unit, all those tokens will have both sides of the bridge at some stage. But apparently, and I'm not sure whether this comes out at the same time as the token bridge itself or not, but at a later date, there will also be the ability to move entire projects over from Ethereum to Cardano using the bridge, basically automatically reprogrammed to the system.
I got some of that. Your connection seems really bad, but I did get some of that. Thank you. Kezi, you can go ahead.
Thank you. I'm so sorry about that. I just had a question in regards to like people that have been using the Nami wallet for a while. Like, what are your thoughts in comparison to maybe Yori or Daedalus? Like, do you like it? I'm a little cautious about browser extensions, and I wanted to get other people's thoughts on it.
It is amazing, honestly. Like Yoroi is literally, it's like a horse, and then Nami is like a Ferrari. Cause
Well then,
you honestly, Yoroi is the shit. But like, no, wait. In English, the shit means like something cool, but no, it's
just shit.
literally yeah. Cause Nami, like, you can first of all, it's ape proof. You literally cannot fuck things up. And second of all, when you send NFTs, you can literally see what you're sending. You can send multiple NFTs, you can see them, and you can also send some ADA along with the NFT itself. So you don't have to send, whereas, for example, on Yoroi, it's Yoroi itself that decides how much ADA you have to send along with your NFTs. So Nami actually came in super useful for our project when we had to burn some duplicates. So we asked people who had some duplicates to send them along with a specific amount of ADA to our burning machine. And if we hadn't used Nami, which allows, I mean, if Nami wasn't there, which allows, as I said, to send an NFT along with a specific amount of ADA, then our blockchain developer would have had to work a lot more just to adjust the kind of like amount of ADA that Yoroi decides to basically decides that you have to send. So the fact that Nami allows for this sort of like flexibility and customization when it comes again to the amount of ADA you want to send along with your NFT, it really comes super handy. Like we truly believe that all the future NFT projects really need to look into it and make the most of Nami functions, because it's honestly a technological marvel. And the first one who actually saw that, I think, was Dead Pixel, because all of his drops required a Nami wallet. And I've been following Dead Pixel since the first season, and you know he's a trailblazer. He saw the potential of Nami, and now we want to kind of like exploit the same functions as well. So if there are any other projects here in this chat who are looking into doing the same, I think it would be great if we all like teamed up and looked into, all the fun stuff we can do on Nami.
That's super helpful. Thank you so much.
I can say that it's that connection, wallet connection, is going to be standard for everything hype moving forward. Hype skulls, that is.
Yeah, I mean, and we didn't take that decision lightly. It's just Nami's that much better. So proof's in the pudding.
Perfect.
I was thinking that maybe DC Spark Flint might have been good, but I heard of some developers use it and they say it's pretty rudimentary. So like I think Nami's the winner. I don't know if it's had a security audit yet, but it seems like the best solution.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. That helps me so much.
I just stick with the big boy, Dataless.
It takes so long to start up, though.
Yeah, man, and it's just like we need this to be easy. There's a reason why our parents aren't really on blockchain, and for most of us anyway. This whole thing needs to be like browser extension, simple to use, easy to grasp, and I feel like a web extension is the stepping stone towards that value proposition.
It's the reason why people like Lee exist.
Yeah, I think Dataless is good for storing like larger amounts or like storing, but like if you want to get a drop and that drop is happening and your computer's not turned on and you have to wait 20 minutes to get Dataless running, you might miss your drop.
That's happened so many times.
I'll tell you this though, Dataless gives you the leg up on the other wallets when it comes to NFT drops, because it feels like they're the first in line. We're the first in line. I got Yummy drops, some other really high contested NFT drops. I got mine, and I see a lot of people on Discord whining because they didn't get theirs. So, yeah.
I agree with you on that because like I always have 2 wallets ready for an NFT drop because you never know which one is going to be backed up or is going to fail. I do like Nami a lot. I was using Daedalus as my main wallet, but now that they have hardware support, I haven't tried it out yet, but I really like the fact that they have incorporated hardware support. So I'm going to start using Nami more, but I agree. Daedalus has been solid for me, but I do have a a lot of space on my computer, and I'm really fast internet, so it's not that hard for me to set it up.
Sometimes the pain is worth it. J Crypto, what's up?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great combo, so I didn't want to interrupt. I wanted to go back though and ask real quick about the lack of developers on Cardano. So, just to understand it, and for others to understand it too, that maybe are like me and just don't, is this because there's just a lack of, expert developers that could learn Plutus and these new languages, or is this just a lack of developers that are like people that are just wanting to be developers and learn this new code? And what's like I'm sure that they're trying to get both onboarded to Cardano right now by finding, maybe poaching developers from other ecosystems or getting them on board. But what's their main, what's the best ROI? Is it to go after people that are maybe in this chat and want to get into coding and have zero experience, or is it to poach
Probably not.
the experts?
I don't think it's either of those. I think what their approach with the Plutus Pioneer program is to, create kind of like a instruction in a formal environment for people to learn Plutus and Haskell, and then there's just a major talent shortage, and that's just hard to overcome. That's going to be something that happens gradually, and I think their approach is pretty novel. You doing it on a global stage with the Plutus program, and I think it'll yield good results, but it might just take a little bit longer than people want.
It might take a lot of networking too. Like I think networking through the Cardano community as it grows is going to help as well find more developers.
No, it's. I mean, to dive get a little bit more rudimentary, it's like you're talking about a completely novel blockchain design, extended UTXO, and then you're talking about a completely new language that based off of this design, off of
I mean, it's a really old language actually, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, the libraries involved are new on top of an old language, but that language is used to code fucking NASA missions,
yeah,
right?
It's used for a lot of government infrastructure, some spacecraft stuff, and financial institutions and so forth. So it's a very secure language. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a combination of all that.
So there's basically just a lack of talent because it's so new?
Pretty much.
I mean, the reason I'm here is because I'm building on Cardano. I'm building my own DApp. I came up with an idea and I'm seeing it through. I entered into the Project Catalyst, Fund 6, and you got to network. You got to look for these guys, right? I mean, I found a couple of developers. It has to be the strength of your idea plus, your ability to find these people, but they're out there, So I don't know. That ain't my experience. I'm in the Discords, the Project Catalyst Discords. They have a weekly town hall. There's a bunch of developers that get together and talk shit. And even though I don't even know half of what they're talking about, I sit there and I learn, I listen, and I politic. You know what I'm saying? I'm in there.
I love that.
Welcome, Zipper. You have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Hey, ignore my voice. You guys know I usually don't sound like this, but just caught a little bit of strep. But I just wanted to hop in really quick. The other day we were chatting about Cardano's lack of networking, right? Or not networking, Cardano's lack of marketing, and it was just to talk about how to, strengthen Cardano's marketing and whatnot. But I was also thinking too, obviously with all the blockchain, a lot of blockchain, it's way too early. But what attracts devs to a network, right? So how can we actually market to more devs to bring them onto Cardano to help with the development of it? And I think that'd be a better solution right now, just since it's so early and there's a lot of shit that needs to be worked on. But I think if we form some sort of marketing strategy to market towards devs, to bring them to this blockchain would be a really smart way to go. And one more thing to say too, I've talked to a few devs, right, and a few people that have worked on projects and whatnot. And a lot of times what they say is the reason why they like to come to Cardano is just because of its scientific approach. and how it takes its scientific approach very serious. And that seems to be very important for a lot of devs. So I think if we move our strategy to market towards devs to help create and strengthen and simplify Cardano, we can then start marketing towards, lack of better say, the average person.
I completely agree with everything you just said. That was actually one of the big things that attracted me to Cardano initially, like that like scientific method approach, like by empowering a bunch of people, like PhDs, to do their theses and their research and stuff on Haskell, and just add to the blockchain. Like I thought that was such a smart approach. So you have so many universities around the world that are furthering the blockchain, and yeah, that's novel, and it hasn't been. I don't think it's been anywhere else.
Yeah, the scientific approach to building is definitely one of my top factors for building on it. But also, it's Cardano's Charles Hoskins' philosophy of trying to include the developing world, Africa, South America, all that, and to join to connect the unconnected. That's I fuck with it. That's why I'm investing in Cardano and I'm building in it. I think building is I think it shows the most conviction. I'm building on this motherfucker.
So back to Zipper's question, what do you guys think would be the way to market to more devs? Or like what or actually, if I can just bring up something that I said too, like what do devs want to see? Like what are they looking for?
I think just getting them early, man, personally. Because from what I understand, just Haskell's tough. So people that know other languages, it's a heavy lift to just become like really good with Haskell. From my understanding, I don't know shit, but like so I would think targeting people in high school, like at a very young age, would probably be the best approach, or just like apprentice teaching them on the job kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Is there any incentives in place to like these devs learning these things? I don't really understand the Plutus program too much, so I'd love to hear.
A very high billable hour is an incentive, in anywhere around the world. So yeah, I don't know. We should probably be marketing that better.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a really high demand for devs that know Haskell. And I think with that, the money that's going to be paid is going to be something a lot of devs will be very interested in. Not trying to say, hey, money's the only factor, but of course, a lot of people are interested in being compensated well. So that's one thing to consider too.
Rekindle, were you about to say something?
Yeah, the problem with getting them early, it's like if you teach them in high school, they're risking learning a language that barely has like an industry. It's a high billable hours for sure, but it's harder to get into, like get a job, quote unquote, I guess. If you know Python, JavaScript, all these other languages, there's more of a demand for that stuff.
Interesting.
In general,
I think if once it starts becoming more out into the public eye and people start seeing what people are doing with it, they'll recognize also the potential for it, and it will gain traction. But if you're in on the ground floor, then you're one of the people that's going to be ahead of everybody else.
That's one of the things that really attracted me to Cardano is they're developing with these really cool languages. And correct me if I'm wrong, or Kendo or Kazi, it sounds like you're knowledgeable too, and a lot of people are. Anybody, is Haskell something that can be used for AI more so than like Solidity and some of these other languages?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
No, people that would know the answer to that, but I don't.
Y'all talk.
Hey,
I wonder if what's his name? He's doing AI with Gland or whatever. Gans.
Can I say something?
Hey, go ahead. Sorry, I don't know. I can't read your name, but go ahead.
It's all right, bro. My name is Adam. Just call me Adam.
What's up, Adams?
What's up? Well, let's just say that you know English, right? If English wasn't there, bro, which language would we speak?
If English wasn't, probably body language.
Body language.
I can speak to you through my
But no,
eyes.
bro, if
I'm just
English,
kidding.
no,
Drawings.
if any no. So let's just say about this, bro. So if any languages wasn't exist, right? Which language will we speak, like without talking?
Music.
I don't know, but can you try to show me what you think that sounds like?
Force. Force.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer that question, but I might be able to answer some of the
We would
questions.
just go back to the basics where we just start
Oh,
grunting and
yes.
making noises and things like that. And yeah, we'd probably just dip into music and find English anyway or something. I just wanted to say hi to this Cardano community, and I saw my one of my favorite people in here, so I wanted to say hi.
Hey, man. Nice to see you too.
Nice to meet you.
Did you guys want me to address the question about AI and the programming languages?
Yeah,
please.
love to hear about that.
So, when it comes to the world of AI, Python is by far the language that is used for most AI applications. And that's because you have these modules that are built in Python, like TensorFlow or PyTorch, PyTorch probably being the most academic, that are, built inside of Python that people use primarily to build AI functions. So outside of Python, there are other languages that are people use for AI, but the vast majority of AI stuff is done in Python. All of the code that you're going to find, in the GitHubs of OpenAI and Google research team and stuff like that are all going to be primarily Python.
Why is that? I mean, like, why did they just standardize Python as this AI language?
That's a great question. I think just because it's I really don't know how to answer that question, because I don't know a lot of other languages that would be, like maybe C might be another language that you could build, AI functions in, and you could probably, I don't know Haskell, but I'm sure you could probably build AI, algorithms in any of these languages. But Python just seems to be of functional language that's responsive and easy to build in. And what's the term? I'm drawing a blank on the term that's used when you build in a language and you don't have to build graphs out and stuff. The language just automatically can spit back out the functional terms at you automatically.
I don't know.
But anyways, yeah, to just sort of answer the question, I've been doing AI research for 6 years, and I don't think I've ever really dove into another language.
How does that, I know that Singularity thing talks about AI for Cardano. What's that whole value proposition? I mean, if you know about AI, I'm sure you can explain that.
Yeah, so you're talking about like Ben Goertzel's project, Singularity.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a whole, like, the world of AI is pretty vast, and it covers a lot of different, things get lumped into just, what we call AI today. But what Ben Goertzel's working on, and this isn't, an area that I'm well versed in, but is what would be called general intelligence. So there's sort of like classical AI, which is, the reinforcement learning, self-driving cars, image classification, natural language processing, all these type of models, like the models that we use to generate art. And then you have a field of AI, which is sort of like kind of its own in-depth area of research. And that's, people have different theories about what could be the best approach. And that's at a high level, I believe that's what Ben Goertzel's working on, is more general intelligence. These would be AI systems that could, instead of being specifically trained to do a specific function, they could be generally, could more broadly use what they've learned to learn other systems. And, you talk about more towards moving towards something that we might call sentient.
So like self-learning consciousness type of general AI
Right. So take for example, image classification network. If I train the network to classify the difference between dogs and cats, right, and I feed the AI lots of images of dogs and cats and train it, it might get very, very good at being able to tell whether a picture is a dog or cat. But then if I start throwing in pictures of birds and ask it which one of these photos is a bird, since it's already trained, it's not going to know what the hell you're talking about, right? Like if you take a system that was trained to drive cars and try to get it to play some other game or some other function, it's not going to be able to do it at all without some kind of human intervention. So the whole idea of general intelligence is training an AI algorithm that can sort of take what it's learned and adapt and learn to do other stuff with that. So you talk about, I've heard some of the great minds in the field of AI talk about, well, when would we actually classify an AI system as being, truly intelligent or truly sentient? And, everybody has a different opinion on what might qualify that AI system to be really, truly intelligent. And one of the great examples that I've heard is maybe if we told an AI model, go learn this, and it went and learned it on its own without having to, us to set up the training and us to set up everything for it to specifically be able to accomplish the task.
Okay, so I am in a clinical environment. We work for major top clinical healthcare. Most of you guys probably know. So with AI, with respect to Python, which you said, which still to me is the standard for AI. We do a lot of AI for clinical robotics and clinical intelligence gathering, data analytics, stuff like that on our clinical next generation monitoring and on all our modalities and everything. And one other thing that both FDA and us as premier, clinical modality manufacturer is the amount of vulnerabilities and exposure to very advanced threats. So my question is that if you take Python as your AI standard, I don't know how can it be secure when we at the clinical level are not really considering as to be, what we would like to really use for our AI and especially in sort of a extremely high, security environment where patient records and patient data are stored. So that's just I think we have opted for different alternatives to Python, just in terms of serious CVEs that we have out there, critical vulnerability at the level of, if you look around, JSON, other options that you have versus Python, you will see the highest level of CVEs are ranging from like 7 to 10 or Python. So that's just like from that perspective, that's, probably I'm just like bringing that up, that potentially could be one of the reason why it's not factored into, let's say, in a Cardano with Haskell. Haskell probably more, again, that's my just 2 cents.
Hey, Kezi, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just have like some comments or like conversation, I guess, about the AI being able to learn how to do things on its own without any sense of direction. Wouldn't it then have to be able to make choices about how to do things the right way, since there's so much information that it would be able to find? And if it was able to make choices, wouldn't it eventually be able to decline having to learn things?
The thing is that we're not just, so in our case, what we're doing as a clinical medical manufacturer, we're looking at a behavioral, let's say in a hospital. Think about a hospital. You go, you have, you got a patient, you got physicians, you got room at certain ambient, environment. So we are really working on utilizing visualization in terms of, camera sensory, other sensories, temperature sensories, other element in terms of, the bed, even the bed, even the boom arm, and there's so many different things, that we're looking at, and then doing an analysis and making a determination as to what is the patient status status, what is the patient's state? What is the state of the clinical care at that point? What is medication? Those are things that we are concerned with. So if it's a auto manufacturer, if it's a production environment, um, they are doing the same thing. They're looking at, from the production side of it, they're just not looking at some programming interface that has sort of a computational data flow that it's monitoring. It has to be beyond data flow. It has to be looking at environment, looking at the time of the day, and so many other things that goes into, like, one of the technology that we are using in partnership with Microsoft is extremely high dependency on imagery, on images as they're changing. We would go and deploy a bunch of sensors can be any combination of audio, video, other elements that are placed strategically in different. Some of them are miniature, that are basically just in our wearable sensor that could be mounted on patient. It could be mounted on a light fixture in a lamp that's sitting right on top of the patient. It could be, and then it's just sending these images, and then it builds sort of an overall what is going on, what sort of is happening within this environment, and it starts using its intelligence. That's the compute part in the background, and then it provides you with the details and what data feedback that you need as sort of a recipient collector of that. So it's a combination of various different observations. It's just not one computational backend that's doing all this. There's many moving parts within total a very sort of well organized AI that you're calling, or AI or slash AI robotics. It's a sort of a combination of the two.
I mean, there's many different, like I was saying, there's many different approaches. There's many different styles.
Exactly.
What we call the classical kind of AI algorithms that like we're using for image classification, and that's what I sort of call the classical AI approach. And then you also have like neuroevolution, which is a whole field of AI that's completely different. It's based on an AI model that can update its own nodes and creates its own nodes roughly based on like an evolutionary process, and it sort of like updates on its own. And then you have models that build themselves out. But anyways, that sort of gets really in the technical end, and just sort of at a high level to answer the question. I think what Ben Goertzel's doing with that project is trying to create what we would call in the field general intelligence.
Interesting. Marta, you want to add anything to that?
Sure. Well, a couple of things. One is that regarding Plutus and the lack of Plutus developers, or what it seems like are the lack of Plutus developers, because I think there are quite a few. I think that especially for young people, that they have to have some sense, and even older people, of why they want to make that commitment of time to learn it. And so if they don't see where that might be going in a practical sense, then they may not be able to want to spend that commitment of time. And one of the things that I think that makes Cardano really unique, and why I'm really attracted to it, is that the whole focus on governance. And for example, I spoke to someone in New Zealand this week, and he's part of Indigenous community, but from a academic perspective. And they have really been, when I talked to him about smart contracts, he said, well, these students of his would know exactly. They would so appreciate this in terms of treaty at these multiple layered levels. So there's and as Cardano rolls out into these new so I call them frontier communities, so communities that are not yet digitized, as Charles talks about them, that there is like different ways of approaching them. And so one way is, to even think about how to expand that conversation on treaty and how to make these relationships, and using smart contracts to do that. It's a really exciting and interesting field. and then the other thing I would say is that one thing about AI is that I've studied AI for off and on for a long time, but not in a way to use, but just to try to understand. But one so I used to participate in conversations about what they used to call artificial life, which I don't know how that's discussed now, if in terms of what term that might be used, but that's self-replicating systems. But the other thing is that, shoot, there was one other thing. So it's artificial life. Um, anyway,
Happens to me all the time.
yeah. So anyway, so I'll just leave it at that for right now. Okay.
What did you mean by treaty?
Well, if you think about, are you in the U.S.? Okay, so we have
Yes.
Native Americans in the U.S. who are on reservations, right? Well, a lot of the reasons that they're on, I've been participated with Native American communities here. I mean, there's a lot of conflict and strife in those communities with the U.S. government, because they are their own governments. They are bound by their own laws and treaties. They are not bound by the U.S. government. So they have treaties. So they have actual written treaties that were made in the 1800s that govern their lands. Well, if
Right.
those treaties had not been broken, there wouldn't be strife, and they couldn't be broken with this smart contract. And so, with the New Zealand Indigenous people, the treaties are, there's treaties that they have a different structure than the Indigenous people in the U.S. So they have different governance structures, different family structures. It's completely different the way they're organized. And so they have agreements amongst themselves at different levels. And then so going all the way up to how they interact with the larger government, but they are not they are different from U.S. Indigenous people in that they do not have their own their it's not their own country. They're kind of outsiders, but also slightly integrated with the New Zealand government. So it's a really different, but there's different structures like that all over the world. And Cardano's like a leader in that. I mean, I think, it's a
Right.
leader in making those kinds of understandings with and I like to use the word again, frontier cultures and societies. I mean, because there's all these different things that we can learn from those societies that will change us, and that we will also change. We'll have this, integrated relationship. So anyway, that's what
No, I totally get what you're saying. So you're saying like there's an incentive for people to be building learning Plutus and building smart contracts to solve these problems that kind of show up all around the world um, in
and that will
isolated
continue
areas.
to show up, and that will just mushroom and become this huge new governance process that's really, I mean, it's beautiful and it's exciting, and it's a new area of exploration. And so I think that it's very powerful, and I don't think anyone has thought it out or structured it as carefully as Cardano and its earliest builders have sort of developed it. So I think it's a really unique opportunity. So that's how I perceive it.
No, yeah, that's a very interesting perspective.
Super
Marta,
insightful.
Marta, I think your thoughts on the developer community, the Cardano developer community, was spot on. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and also AI. I remember the thing I was going to forget. Has anyone thought of this question? Maybe you all have, and maybe you know, but do you know of any AI protocol or project that can include dreaming? Can an AI process dream? I'll leave it at that.
That's awesome.
Some iRobot Asimov stuff right there. Love
There
it.
there is research going on right now. Um, at least it's been sort of papers have been written on it, so it's not something that is not talked about. It's definitely in a sort of from just conceptually into a white paper, into sort of getting into at Georgia Tech, that I have heard. I've actually read the paper. I've heard discussions at the thought leadership at Georgia Tech. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, there's definitely not just Georgia Tech. There are definitely other research institutes that are looking at, because that's very interesting, and that really feeds into what they call, sort of, revolutionary sort of, ideas, and sort of advancing just the whole human sort of, so yeah, it's definitely a very interesting concept, that's no doubt. I got a question about this indigenous, reservations and everything. Is Cardano doing anything in U.S. with our native reservation, because they have their own challenges? I mean, I live here in California, and I go to different, sort of Arizona, and there's all sorts of problems here with is Cardano doing anything? Are they involved in terms of similar to what you mentioned about New Zealand indigenous population?
There's different approaches, and like, as you may know, are there any indigenous people on this call? Just so I don't speak ahead of anyone.
Dana had her hand up, but I'm making sure she's going
Okay.
afterwards.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, anyway, so there are some conversations, but there's all these different governmental levels within the indigenous communities. Like there's the councils for each, the tribal councils, and those are sort of people who are put in place to make relationships with the U.S. government. And a lot of the indigenous people who are more tribal powerful are not really trusting within the tribes of those people. So a lot of times what happens is people will reach out to the tribal governance people, and and it sort of causes this mistrust throughout, that kind of rolls throughout. So there's a kind of, from the people that I know, there's a kind of distrust of blockchain, and a lot of blockchains have reached out to, not Cardano, but a lot of blockchains have reached out to indigenous people, but mostly to exploit them. So I think
Right.
I think that the I think that so I think that it's a really tricky situation, and I tried to bring someone in to Swarm to talk about how his experience, but that didn't really work out. So I think that there might be something going on that we don't know about, that I don't know about, that's in the going on in the background, conversations or things. So there could be, but I think there could definitely be more conversations, and in some sense that's why I kind of wanted to bring it up to people who were talking about Plutus developers, because I just think that the more people that think about that or ask questions or know about it, the more it's a possibility to, for us all to think about these ideas and to learn about them, to sort of try to ask questions, because I think that's the beginning part that's difficult, to ask questions instead of just building tools and thinking that they should be adopted, and it's just about the digital divide, when it isn't necessarily about the digital divide. It's more complex than that. But there's all sorts
Right.
of, there's lots of interesting things to happen. But Hype, HYPE, who spoke about Georgia Tech and the issues of artificial intelligence and dreaming, would you be able to?
I think that was Net Expert, but yeah.
Okay, whoever it was, whoever it was, and if they're still there, if you could please reach out to me in Discord, if you're on Discord, or on Twitter, and just give me a link to that, to those one of those papers or anything that might point me in that direction. I'd really be interested. So thank you.
Yeah, sure. I will. Dr. Ghassan Al Raghib is the head of that. I will try to put you in touch with him. He is.
I wanna give time for Dana because she's been waiting. So, Dana.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to say, Marta, thank you for your insight. I would love to speak to you offline about your experience. I'm actually working on an independent film right now that is focusing on a Native American Marine suffering with PTSD. And we've been working really closely. We've been interviewing a lot of different organizations and Native Americans who actually work with different tribes. So you're exactly right. As far as Indigenous people on the reservations go, there's really 4 different layers that a person has to go through, not only their own governance, but then the 3 other organizations governmentally run to get anything done. But even within the Native American community, like say that there's people that are Native who don't live on the res anymore, but who want to help their own Native people, even trusting them. There's the founder of Mazacoin And then there's also another group. They started Native Coin, and they're trying to unify all of the reservations that have casinos. And going through the process of doing that, I think Mazacoin had a short documentary, but I would love to, because we part of the film that we're building has a crypto component to it too. And one of the things, hopefully by the end of the film, we're trying to showcase how maybe like a mining rig could be built within one of these reservations to help kind of give some of their power back to them, that the government has taken, because it's not just trying to get things done in there, but even unity between all these different reservations is really hard. So one of the things with their governance is in between their own tribe, but then connecting all of them. They say that the easiest way to, attack somebody is to divide them. And so, stronger in numbers. A lot of the Native Americans we've been talking to and interviewing have been saying, yeah, if we unified, we would be a powerful source. And then I think another thing that the smart contracts would be really useful for, possibly if we could find a way to help be able to have our government recognize, Native American marriages, because because they don't do it the same way we do it. We have we have Native Americans going and fighting overseas for our country, and then when they lose their lives, some of them have been buried without, their families even getting the chance to have that ceremony, and only their mother is allowed on because their father is not recognized as married to their mother. So being able to help with the identity of the different unions that go on in these reservations. It's the things that we've been learning about what happens on reservations and how they're actually, we talk about developing countries and third world countries, and we literally have them in our own country and nobody knows about it. Really crazy.
I'd be totally interested in talking to you further about that, because I have a bunch of insights about that too, and I like to hear, and I'd like to give you feedback on what I've heard, and so that would be really interesting. Are you on Discord?
Yes.
Okay, so I am too. N plus FOL, and then there's a bracket M bracket. So should be able to find me on Swarm. Also, also on if you're on Swarm, you should be able. Are you on Swarm?
I am not. I'll send you a private message too.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Assface requested to speak, and I'm just really curious on what he has to say.
See where this is going.
So, what's up? What's up, Assface? Hey, well, he doesn't have a mouth. So, okay.
I guess if he spoke, it would be a fart.
Med Friends is coming up. Hey, what's up, Med Friends?
Seems like people are still getting the hang of their microphone. Oh, Entheos, you got something to say?
Well, I certainly didn't want to take away from the conversation, talking about supporting the indigenous peoples. I think that's very important. I did have a, kind of like an interesting thought to share as far as it, relates to AI dreaming, but I didn't know if it was worth going back there or not. But, I know that there's research on that, and I found it really fascinating myself. But, one of the interesting things about dreaming is that we really don't even know the full extent to which dreaming is a function for humans, right? So we know that there is some chemical balancing that goes on, and obviously some functional as far as physical body that's concerned in dreaming. But one of the interesting areas of research that I've read about in dreaming is that there could be, as far as it relates to intelligence, this sort of data augmentation that's going on when we're dreaming. So in other words, when you're training AI systems, data augmentation would be, if you only have so much training data and you want to train a model to do a specific task, you may want more data than what you have in the training data. So one of the ways that we can do that, to go back to the cats and dogs example, if I have a bunch of pictures of cats and dogs, but maybe not enough is what I'd like to train the model, data augmentation may look like, me taking the pictures and cropping out sections of them, or changing the color, or rotating them, or scaling them. All of these things to the training set could be considered what we would call data augmentation, to get more data out of the data we have. And one of the functions that it's been put forward as far as it relates to how it could, how humans use this as a function, is dreaming may be a way for us to be sort of augmenting our own training data. So in other words, we all have the experience of having a dream where we're flying, right? Well, we know that we can't fly, and the human brain knows that we can't fly. But in order to maybe learn from that, dreaming may be a way of our brain sort of augmenting the data that we do have, to try to learn more from what it may be like to fly. So I thought that was really fascinating, and I think I'd share that with you guys.
Something else cool about AI too, just from like a business kind of point of view, is have you guys seen Singularity Net?
Yeah, I think everyone was talking about that.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
the idea of being able to, like, as a AI developer, create a type of AI, and then for somebody who has no background in developing, being able to own that AI and monetize on that, I just could see that as a really profitable industry down the road.
There's a challenge out right now, I think, for this fund, for Fund 7.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Can you go into that?
I got assigned to be on the challenge team, and we're just having some meetings this week. So I don't know. I can't really speak of it right now. But you can go to IdeaScale. Does everybody know how to get there to IdeaScale? Okay.
Yeah.
So just go to IdeaScale and then look up the challenge. It's the AI challenge, Singularity Net AI challenge. You can read about it. It was I think it was written by a guy named Greg Ball. So you can go ahead and read about it. It's going to be talked about more in this town hall, this upcoming town hall.
Do you take part in those?
Yeah. Oops. Sorry. Am I here still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, I do take part in those.
Nice. I mean, you sound like you're very engaged in that sort of that part of the Catalyst idea scale stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's been really an interesting learning experience. So yeah, it's very interesting, and it's changing. It changes all the time, which is also interesting as well. So yeah, I'd encourage everybody to participate. They're on Wednesdays, town hall meetings.
How does that entire thing work? That's related to the Catalyst funds, right? I vote, but like I'm not sure how that entire thing works at all. Could you kind of like speak on that a little bit?
So there's a treasury. IOG is part of IOHK. So it's a foundation part of IOHK. IOHK is the company that Charles started, right? And he's the one that started Cardano. So IOG is the foundation. And then they, at some point, and this was before I arrived to learn about Cardano, but so I may be a little foggy on some of those pieces, but they have a treasury that's operated by IOG, but eventually will be operated by the community. And the treasury has a lot of funds in it, which keeps expanding. And each several months, they put out a new fund with a series of challenges they're like that the community has come up with, that where there's a list of them, and then they put out a call and people can submit proposals to be funded out of the treasury for that particular challenge, and then people vote on those proposals, which is what you've probably done. So yeah. So is it, go ahead.
How do you know exactly how the voting mechanism works? Like, I'm voting with my ADA, but there are some points involved. My ADA is worth a certain amount of votes. How does that even work? How does that mechanism
And I'm
work?
probably not the best person to talk with about that, but from what I understand is, like in the last case, you had to have 500 ADA in a wallet, and then that gave you like 1 vote per 100 or something like that. I think then you had 5 votes, and I might be a little bit off on that number, but it was something like that. But there's a lot of discussions, like quadratic voting is now in discussion. There's different, because some people feel, because you can have multiple wallets. If you had multiple wallets, if you had a lot of ADA, and then each wallet would have a certain number of votes, and so it might make it look like, so a wallet is not necessarily one person. A wallet is a wallet, right? So there's a lot of discussions about that. So you'd probably be best off to ask somebody that's involved in that than I. I don't really understand how that all works. I don't really want to know, to be honest. I'll let someone else deal with that part of it.
Actually, I just had last week, I through these Twitter chats, I have been participating within the last month, and I don't know if you have come across or have been on a chat with Lido Nation. He is almost like a part of the Catalyst team, and I would highly recommend seeking him out. I mean, he was very gracious to we had a Zoom and he walked me through Catalyst.
Yeah,
awesome.
he's definitely a prominent member for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I see Brada has their hand up. I wonder if they can chime in with Catalyst here.
Hi guys, good morning, evening, depending where you are. Good to be here. I've been out of Twitter in a while, so good to join new faces in the community. I would just like to comment what Marta was saying about Catalyst. So Catalyst right now, it's kind of decentralized-ish because it's still being run by IOHK. But the idea in the future is to, be when Voltaire is implemented, to be, in hands of the community. The way the voting works, yes, there is a minimum, 500 ADA. That can be adjusted. It used to be more, but now it's less. The reason why some people kind of complain, it's not very inclusive, but we need to think about needs to be a cost to voting, because otherwise, bad actors could vote for things, just to compromise the whole system if there's no cost. So that's that's why there is a minimum, and that minimum gives you like a voting power. So depending how much ADA you have on your wallet, that gives you power. There've been people talking about quadratic voting and different approaches to kind of mitigate whales to voting too much. Right now, Catalyst is a side chain of Cardano, so all the votes they don't happen on the main chain. It's connected to the main chain, but it's on the side chain, and I think we'll stay like that because you want to have cheap voting, fast voting as well. So that's my 2 cents on Catalyst, and yeah, and it's and the way it's funded, by the way, it's every epoch. Like we had a payment today. It's part of the transaction fees that occur on mainnet, and a pot is goes towards the treasury, so it's growing every 5 days. It's about 0.20. Sorry, the rewards are 0.3. The reserves increase, and 20% of that goes towards the treasury. So that's how It
So
gets funded every 5
there's
days.
not like a so there's not like a weighted thing where
Sorry?
if you say there's not like a weighted thing where there's like if you have 20 million ADA that you're not like monopolizing over votes and stuff is there
Right now it is.
I'm
You can't
assuming
monopolize.
function.
You can't monopolize because it's like there's a lot of people voting, but yes, it's weighted by how many ADA you have on your wallet. So if you have 20 million ADA, your voting power will be very high. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty much going to ask that same question. So that pretty much just got answered. I was going to ask, is there really a better way to go about that whole system rather than using like ADA as a barrier? Because I believe for sure there needs to be a way to regulate, kind of like what you said with like bad actors. But you can still have a bad actor just based on having a large amount of money with that system. And even if you have like a cap, say only up to like 500 ADA, there's really nothing stopping that bad actor to create like multiple wallets just to like exceed that cap. So I was wondering, this is kind of like for everybody in the room, when it comes to like governance and voting, do we think the main fix would just be able to have the internet identification? Because I believe everyone's vote should hold like the same weight. And I think that if you create these barriers, it just creates a possibility for people to, I guess I wouldn't say exploit because that's like nefarious, but there are holes in the system where people can take advantage of certain things. So I guess without identification, is there any other way?
I think the future
I
would
wouldn't know.
be like Catalyst right now is just the very first iteration of it. But the way I see moving forward would be implementing a Tala Prism on top of that. That's why IOHK been doing the decentralized identification. So instead of voting with your ADA, you would be able to verify your identity on the blockchain without disclosing too much. So I think the next move to Catalyst would be to implement some sort of ID verification system where you can be identified without compromising your identity. But yeah, it's and there is like this quadratic voting as well. They talking about where even if you have 2 million ADA and one has like 10,000, the kind of votes like are not too much disproportionate, like it's this sort of proportion. But it's an experiment, like people come up with new ideas, and it's gonna evolve over time. It's far from perfect right now, but it's at least something.
That's really interesting. We've touched on so many topics here. I think we've had the space going for almost 3 hours now. How's everybody feeling?
Let's keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Time is
It's
flying
good to
by
hear more
hearing all
than
these great points of views and just different things. It's ridiculous that 3 hours has almost gone by.
Well, there's so many like.
I just
Oh,
want to
sorry.
say thank you. I just want to say thank you. I have not participated in one of these before, and very cool. Like
You're lucky.
the versatile subjects have been very cool to listen to. And Marta, just because I want to take advantage of this moment right now, I went on your to DM you, and I realized you didn't have direct messages linked up. So would you be able to give me that link again to contact you?
Sure.
Sorry.
Can you just follow me on Twitter, and then I can DM you through Twitter?
Oh, perfect. Yep. I think I already followed
Okay, I'll
you.
follow you
That's
back,
great.
and then I'll send that in. Thank you.
All right.
I'm not saying that quality spaces only happens when we host it, but quality spaces only happen when we host it.
I just added Med Friends back up. I wonder if they have anything to say.
Hey guys, no, just wanted to just chime in on the topics that you guys discussed. Obviously, thank you, Rekindle and ThinkGrow for like just everything you do. I've been on the space since like August, and it just feels like a family to me. And I had another account, so I just started a project because of I'm in the medical field, and that's kind of my passion. And so MedFriends is kind of a combination of love for CNFTs as well as medicine. But anyways, I don't want to show the project too much. I just wanted to talk about kind of the space itself. And I'm not a developer, but when I started building this project, I kind of told myself I need to get connected with the community and grow this project more organically, in which I think it's doing. But also in the developer side, there's so many cool things happening. I actually ended up getting a developer who's building on Polkadot, and he helped me with this CNFT project, and he learned about CNFT just from me. And as well as he's making all these connections, he's actually kind of start building on on Cardano as well. So just wanted to let you guys know that we're building the network through these connections. And it's also awesome for us to reach out to other people building on different platforms to get them involved with Cardano, because they're missing out, I think. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys big, I guess, like, thank you for motivating me to continue doing what we're doing here. So thank you.
Everything we do here adds value to the network.
Yeah, that's awesome, Ed friends. And just on that too, it's amazing because I have my friends and family reaching out about, okay, what is crypto, what are blockchains, all that stuff. And I feel so comfortable getting them involved in the Cardano community, prefaced with this is all just like you gotta only spend what you can afford to lose in certain subject matter like that. But there's such a tailwind for this community from a development side, from a community side, from like just impacting the world side. It's made me feel very comfortable with getting people into this as well. To your point.
Yeah, I totally agree. If I think it's a great opportunity to get people involved in the creative aspect of building software code that is actually able to impact change through the blockchain. So that's kind of how I saw it. And so the way I thought about it was like the big issue, at least with medicine, is that this kind of is a bigger picture, but it's like owning your own information, like kind of having a HIPAA compliant, but at the same time, ownership of your own patient information, I think is a big thing for medical institutions to start implementing blockchain. So, like, for instance, there's times where, like, I'm a physician, but there's times where I'm trying to get a patient who's in I mean, right now I work in the ICU, so I'm dealing with patients who can't speak. So it's like, how do I even they're intubated? How do I get the patient's information? Sometimes I have to get it from an outside medical hospital, and that takes time. What if we're able to have it so that it's in the blockchain, and I'm able to get permission through, the family member to be able to obtain that info? And I think that's kind of where I also see blockchain helping different sectors, especially in the medicine aspect of things. But just in the small scale of what I'm trying to do with this project is trying to provide royalties to nonprofit, like medical nonprofits, through like NFTs, and forming a community where people could talk about medical and psychiatric illnesses in a way that's positive, right? In a way that is able to bring people together and provide funding to have more outreach to other people, not in the NFT space, for instance.
Not to take away from anything Med friend just said, but I also I just had a unique point of view too. It's so fun to see NFT creators who take, just for anybody listening that's thinking about doing a project too, if you take something that you're passionate about and turn it into an NFT, that's a huge Kickstarter, just emotionally and motivationally to keep going. And the inspiration that I hear from Med friends, for example, to bridge that world even further past the NFT project, I just see that as a really nice avenue to get into NFT creation.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Like anybody, like, I never thought I would be someone who started like an NFT project, just because I was so, like, my life has been medicine for the past, like, I don't know, since like I was 18, basically. I'm 31 now. So like that's all I did, and I never but I also had that creative aspect of like, oh, I wish I could draw, I wish I could do things, but understanding where my passion lies, but also understanding where my weaknesses are, and getting people involved who are my able to cover up my weaknesses, like getting an artist, getting a developer, and having those skills of coming together and forming something that you're passionate about, I think is the ultimate there's a reason why we're here, right? The reason why we're able to talk with such high passions is because we see where the future lies, and it is in blockchain, it is with Web 3.0, and we're still early, like a lot of people mentioned. So it's exciting times, and I'm really glad that you guys have the space.
Looks like Kezi has her hand up. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, this is the first group of people that I've been involved with that has so much knowledge and doesn't just keep it close to themselves. Like, people are willing to share their information and help people that have questions, and it isn't as guarded as a lot of other places that I've been around people that might have had information to share. And I feel because of that, we're all growing like so much quicker than we would have been if everybody just sat in their little bubble, hiding from everybody else.
I'm a serial lurker. Sorry.
I'm not saying this only happens when we host the space, but I'm saying it only happens when we host spaces.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kezi.
Honestly, can't wait till we finally are able to meet. And I know with the quarantine and the COVID and stuff, it's been preventing a lot of people to have social events. But I just can't wait till we have. I know next year we're gonna have. I'm like blanking on the name, but we're gonna have a convention, right? Cardano convention next year, hopefully in Las Vegas. So I'm really excited for that.
Actually, sorry, go ahead. Think and Grow. Crypto.
Oh, that's okay. I was just gonna help him out. It's CNFT Con.
Oh, cool. Also on that, like I talked with in an interview I did with Derp Birds. If you guys are familiar with Derp, I see a Derp actually in the listener chat. But I talked with the founder of Derp Birds about this. It's amazing what NFTs have done because I'm 23 and I know that there's a lot of younger people here too. And the thing is that's interesting is like growing up. I mean, sure there was sports and maybe if you were religious you had an avenue for community, but with COVID and I've heard my old timer friends talk about how there was more community back in the day. It's amazing how NFTs have provided such a great space for community and thought development and growth, and I'm just so excited for that. And I think for any NFT projects out there too, like I just think the ones that can create communities, especially in a niche, if you're passionate about a certain thing, I mean, that's where a lot of the leverage is to build those communities out and make your NFT project even more valuable. Just one opinion.
Hey, J Crypto, I didn't recognize your until I just recognized your voice, and I'm like, wait, that's a guy I follow on YouTube. So just wanted to say thank you for everything you post, man. I didn't recognize your picture until now. I'm a big follower, and I love the interview you had with Derp, the creator of Derp, and those guys are phenomenal. Like I was like laughing the whole time when you were talking to him. You guys had such interaction, like some very good flow of the interview.
I appreciate that.
So I just wanted to say, you're 23, man, but I definitely wasn't as mature as you are and professional as you were when I was 23. I was like, my mind was so set on certain things, but I love that you're so into NFTs and just crypto in general. And yeah, thank you for doing what you do, man.
Hey, I really appreciate that. And it's going back to that interview, man. The Derp Bird community is lunatics. It's nuts. It's amazing. It's crazy how those guys interact on social. But I really appreciate that, man.
I'm a def check out J Crypto now. Let's see what it's about.
Thanks, Sessions. I appreciate you.
Definitely check them out, man. Definitely check them out.
On that note, everybody go follow J Crypto and subscribe to his YouTube channel. And Dana has her hand up.
Yeah, I just had a question on something you said a minute ago about, did you say CNFT Con in Vegas? Is that a real thing or is that something that's like in the mind right now?
It is a real thing. They hosted their first one this year it was September or October. It was recent anyway. And because of COVID, it was an online thing, but next year it's going to be an in-person conference or event in Vegas.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I'm based in Vegas and I feel like I miss all of these. I need to a bulletin board or something. I'm trying to keep up with all the places that all the information is stored, but yeah. Okay. Man, I'm sad I missed it.
I missed it too because I thought it was a real thing, and then I was talking about it, and somebody's like, "Dude, it was online," and I'm like, "Wow, okay, I just missed it because I suck."
Technically,
no, I got so lucky that I got a pass.
Yeah, you can still watch the interviews that they hosted on their YouTube channel. I think it was BuffyBot. But yeah, next year it's going to be an in-person thing, and I'm really looking forward to that. And very cool that you're in Vegas. That's super easy for you.
Yeah, and if you guys ever need help, like if you want to put together an event or something, in my past life, I used to do some things around town. So, just let me know if you guys need help if you're planning on putting something together.
Awesome, thank you. I had a quick question about kind of what Jay Crypto was talking about, building a community. I've never really, I've actually I have a TikTok where I talk about medicine to pre-meds and stuff, and my following isn't that big. It's like 35,000, but on TikTok you get followers like pretty quickly. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on like building a CNFT or NFT like TikTok to tailor to CNFTs? Because I just feel like the volume is still, obviously it's grown the last couple months, but I feel like there's a lot of people who are into crypto NFTs, but they get the bad impression that they're going to lose money because of the gas fees because they don't know about CNFTs. Just wanted to know the general vibe of that TikTok phenomenon.
First thing, did you just say 35,000?
Yeah, 35,000 on TikTok. With I have like a pre-med medicine account on TikTok.
What I think about marketing on TikTok is like it's something that I can't really bring myself to make a TikTok account, but it's so
Well,
effective
we had a bunch of
sometimes.
trolls come into the
It
community
really
lately because
is.
of some bad advertisement. I think it was through Island Boys or something made a video, and they were like they're
Speaking of,
terrorizing some people's spaces. Like they were sending me death threats and stuff. So you got to be careful with that stuff.
Oh wow.
speaking
That's
of, they're
good to know.
requesting to come up right now, the Cardo Lords people.
Oh my God.
I like TikTok, and and I tried making it a TikTok channel. I'm just way too busy to push content. But if you want to share your handle, your TikTok username or whatever, I'd love to follow you.
Okay, cool. Right now it's mostly just medicine advice to like people who want to get into medicine, but I'm like planning on like doing one video where I talk about my project and get people involved with NFT. So like have a conversion rate of like the 35,000 followers that I have to hopefully have them get into NFTs. So that's kind of my goal, and then have a different channel where I just talk about NFTs and crypto, related to Cardano, obviously.
That's really cool. I do know another Cardano project. I think it's called Atomic Heroes. The creator, he's very active on TikTok and does a lot of TikTok videos to help educate people, which is really cool. Yeah. And
wow, I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me.
No problem. I do see Andrew has had his hand up for a while. Go ahead.
Yeah. Talking about the TikTok, it wasn't until a few months ago, being able to talk about NFTs and crypto actually was banned from TikTok. Same with YouTube. That's why kind of like during the last few months, you've kind of been seeing more Gemini ads and stuff like that. But yeah, it used to be banned to do that type of material on there. I think you should definitely do it, especially if you have an audience. Because yeah, the most important thing in Cardano is building up community. And I think that is why we're all here. We all got attracted to this blockchain for like the same reasons. And I think that's like the most important thing to express, especially talking like to your audience and like your community, is just make sure they're doing it for the right reasons. A lot of people come in the NFT scene thinking they can get rich and just flip their way to millions. And even though that's like a small possibility, that shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be on what you're able to provide for your project, information, anything you can do to just have it be solely about the project and not focused on the floor and price and you can get this and you can get that. And I think, you'll definitely build up a super strong organic community, and that's going to be what you want in the end. You're going to want longevity. You're not going to want some people coming through to quickly flip your project and then just complain the entire time when they don't get rich. So if you're just doing it for the right reasons, you're positive, you're honest, you're transparent, I don't see there's any problem at all with that.
Yeah, thank you. Good point, Andrew. I think that's kind of the way that I've been doing things is like, and I know there's like a way of doing it legally, or like there's things that come like you don't make sure that you don't make it a security, and like that's something I'm still learning about. But just in the general gist of it is just making sure that community aligns with your mission, right? So that's what I'm hoping to do. So thank you.
Hey guys, can I say something real quick, just in regards to that?
Let's do Dana, then you, and then
Perfect.
Kezi.
Oh, thanks. Also, I think that there's an opportunity to maybe help educate while give them a little practice with, the next generation or younger people who maybe are more proficient on TikTok. Like, Med, if you have maybe like a younger sibling or a cousin or a niece or something like that, and somebody that you trust, because the thing is that all of these social media accounts, if you're trying to do everything yourself, it can get overwhelming. We're all supposed to be hashing our own stuff, and while you're creating content and while you're trying to do your stuff, you're running a pool, you're making your NFTs, all of these things. And so it turns into like 3 full-time jobs. So if you end up like looking at different communities on TikTok, or if you even know a young person who's already proficient, like asking them to come under your wing and work with you, give them some access to maybe a new TikTok account or something, and have them help you put out what you need to do without having to do it all yourself. And then maybe pay them or something like that, or even work with a local university or something if there's more programs that are available now for people to be learning about crypto. And I know at least in Wyoming, and there's all these Cardano labs everywhere now in different universities. There should be a way to connect with some of these young people with projects that they can help. Maybe I lead a girls youth group here in Las Vegas, middle school girls, and they are amazing artists, and I've already talked to them about possibly starting their own program, because one of the things they're really passionate about is dress codes in school for girls, and they want to start their own like fashion line, because there's not a lot of clothing that is marketed towards them that's appropriate to be wearing in school, and so everyone's getting sent home every day. And I was like, well, why don't you guys create an NFT project, and so we're working to start something like that, so that they can start, a little entrepreneur, and it gives them something to take their mind off of all of this COVID stuff, and it gives them community. So it's about just bringing more people into the space and not trying to be a master of all things, a jack of all trades and a master of nothing. Let's get people who know what they're doing on TikTok and bring them alongside and teach them a little bit about crypto.
Cardano, Math, I believe you've had your hand up for a bit.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Hey. Well, first of all, thanks for this space. It's a really cool space, and I just want to second what everyone's talking about just the community. It's the Cardano CNFT community is really cool and really diverse. And as someone was saying before, someone who has a youth group, I guess, and there are lots of high school students doing CNFTs, and I'm a university professor, and my project is actually looking to incorporate I don't know, things about math, cool math, and history of math with Cardano world. And in the future, I want to even involve students and faculty in the creation of this. So it's just really cool to be able to get together and talk with just really different people and from all walks of life. And so thank you for this space. It's really cool.
Say one thing about the Cardano community is, well, Cardano is a very organic space. People who are here want to truly be here. And one thing about, like, for anyone that's planning to do an NFT project or grow a community on Cardano, the more organic you can be and give back and, be there for the community, the more loyal your following will be, and you'll grow and you'll get so much support that way versus just paying for ads and such.
Space Dookie. Amazing name. What's up?
Yo, what's up, guys?
My bad. Nothing much. How are you?
I'm just collecting stuff and listening to you. Very great space here.
Appreciate that.
Hello? Okay. It's Dana. I wanted to touch on 2 things. One is one, Cardano math, what you were saying earlier about creating NFTs with the math for school and for different people who work for the school system. I think there's a huge opportunity for you actually right now. One of the things, especially here in Vegas, I don't know about anywhere else in the country, but our school system is kind of lacking, and especially, there's there's schools here that don't even give out math books. You know what I'm saying? So some of the kids are struggling who go to certain schools, and depending on what areas they live on here. But I know that in the Catalyst program right now, there is a challenge for, I think it's gaming for, and I know that one of the ways that during COVID, a lot of kids who had to do, school from home, was they were downloading different resources, different books that had, just teaching math. And it wasn't from their school, but all of those resources like saw an upshoot in price, not in price, but in sales during COVID. And I think that like maybe doing something that could look like a math game or something. You gamify the learning process and put it into, an idea into the Cardano Catalyst program. You could get funded to maybe explore those things. I think that would be really awesome. So that's number one thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that comment. That's actually something that we're thinking about so far. Okay, so let's see. One of the motivations behind our project is exactly the fact that in schools, math is taught terribly. Basically, math is taught you just have to memorize a bunch of formulas, and math is, well, I'm a mathematician. I have a PhD and I teach math at the university level. Math is so exhilarating and interesting. Even just basic math, there's a way to teach it and to see it that just makes kids light up when they eventually see. Like the other day, we were talking about, I did a space where we talked about math facts that will blow your mind. And so, for example, we were discussing that if you fold a napkin over itself, if you try to do it, I don't know, if you fold it in half, for example, then you fold it in half again, then again, and you try to do it 7 times, around the 5th or 6th time, you're going to have trouble because the napkin is so thick. Well, you can do a simple calculation and show that if you try to do that 50 times, the napkin would have to be so thick that it could reach the sun and back. Okay, so it's just ridiculous. It's impossible to do, of course. But like just like little examples like that are things that you can teach in school. They have to do arithmetic to be able to do these examples, but it's just facts that are really interesting that'll motivate them. And so that's something we're trying to incorporate into our project. So like so far we haven't done our big drop yet, but so far what we've been doing is we've been doing crypto contests because crypto Cardano and all cryptocurrency is based on cryptography, which really the math behind is quite simple. And it's very fun to do, and it's even fun. You can do it at a high school level easily. The basically the basic math principles behind it. And so what we've been doing as a project is we've been doing some crypto contests where we throw out a message on Twitter, and the first person to decipher it, for example, gets one of our NFTs. It's been really fun. We've had some good participation. And so we want to keep doing that. And eventually, I like the idea of eventually having a real game with our NFTs. We have to figure that out in the future, but we definitely want to have an educational aspect to this. So thanks for your comments. It's really, really good.
No problem. Yeah, and then just the other thing I was going to say was if there are different people or projects that are wanting to support other projects, like I said, I don't know if it's okay to show here, but I am producing an indie film that is, the underlying theme is going to be educating the public on how to live out of a crypto wallet if you have to, just giving them real world examples, and also showcasing that small staking pool out of New York that I actually stake my ADA with. They are called mill pools, and they actually support veterans and their families. And so utilizing the movie to help educate the public on how not to be scared and how to use their crypto, especially with all the crypto ATMs that are popping up all over the place. Obviously, your more educated crypto person isn't, it depends on how you feel about the ATMs, but we are right now in the funding process. We have a couple different investors that we're talking to, as well as we've been talking to NAVA, the Native American Veterans Association. And one of the guys that we've been talking with over there, he also the founder of a organization called Native American Made TV, and he is talking with us, and he's going to help us with going for a grant to get some funding from the government in order to help us make a movie that also showcases the Native American history and educating on that too. So if anyone's interested in participating or supporting a project like this, it is a tax write-off as well because it's a film. So anybody interested, let me know. We can set up a meeting, and my director and we can sit and kind of give you the rundown of what the whole project's about. And if you're willing to invest, that's your choice, but we would appreciate any support. Just throwing it out there.
That's so awesome. I love to see that. And I actually, guys, I have to go for a little bit. I'm not sure how long this will run. I might be back, but I just wanted to say real quick to Cardano Matt that, and so many of the speakers that have come on, like, I just love the thought of combining your passion with creating a project that benefits your community, or you're creating a community from thin air because maybe like Med Friends, I know he's gone, but being in medical and finding people that are in medical that can relate to his project. I just really love that, and I think that that's the future. So thank you guys so much for having me for this time. I'm gonna try to hop back on if I can, if it doesn't end. But this was my first Twitter space. You guys were really fun and cool to hang out with, and thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us, Jay Crypto. I actually have to get going too. We've been on this space for about 3.5 hours, so I'll give another 5 minutes or so if anyone has any last minute questions. If not, I appreciate everybody who joined this space. It was an amazing space. I'm so happy.
All right, guys, take care. Thanks.
See ya. I just want to say thank you. This was a really good space. There's a lot of really constructive stuff said. I learned a lot from you guys just from the space, so thanks so much.
I'm not saying it only happens in our spaces, but it really only happens in our spaces.
I feel like this is going to be something Rekindle says every space.
Or like 5 times every space.
But we'll be hosting this space every Thursday, 1 p.m. PST, or I guess 4 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, feel free to hop in next time. Rekindle, you have anything to close off with?
I think Emmanuel wanted to say something really quick, but yeah.
Yeah, hi Rekindle, thank you. I'll be super fast. I actually just wanted to come up to give Cardano Math their flowers, to give you a shout out. I just gave them a quick follow. I love what you're trying to do with math and just this modern technology, especially for children and young students. I'll be very excited to jump on a call with you if you ever have time. I imagine you're super busy, but power to you. And it's amazing what you're doing. And if to the astute observer, pretty much everything Cardano is from the development standpoint is a lot of math. If anyone here who writes Plutus code would, has some point had to pause your code and open like functions 101, or like try to figure out how certain polynomials and stuff could turn around. So yeah, let's jump on a call. I'm curious to see how we can cultivate the young minds of tomorrow to take math seriously and make fun out of it. So power to you. Yeah, I'm done.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the words.
It's been fun. This 3 hours and almost 4 hours. This was like this was like the most informative space we've pretty hosted thus far. So thanks all for being here. Thanks for listening in. Yeah.